Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. All right. So Harsh wants to message and chat. Let's see if he's up for actually debating this a little bit. Let's just see. Let's see if he joins. Let's see if he joins. Since he thinks it's just gonna be a screaming match. See, there's things like motherfuckers. When a motherfucker gets mad and fucking, it means he's upset. It means that he cares enough to be upset. He cares enough to say something. And if that's bad or weakness for me to have enough fucking respect to fucking call you out and yell at your ass for being a hypocrite and doing exactly what the fuck you say you're against. All right. That just shows your character and your integrity. I mean, go. Are you kidding me? Go look at go watch some videos of these motherfuckers don't know how to talk. Argue, definitely not argue. I mean, I'm not the best myself, but goddamn. All right, Harsh, I'm waiting, buddy. I sent you the link. I'm waiting. Waiting, buddy. Where you at? You had a lot to say in the last stream. Well, you know how that goes. You know how that goes. Nobody really wants to come with the pain. Come on. I'm waiting. Come on, Harsh. Waiting. No. That's not what I meant. Whatever. Hello? Where we at? Waiting. Let's see what's going on. You're gonna have to wait your turn there, Gary. I mean, unless you want. I mean, let Harsh send you. That's fine. If you want to be the one, another person to stick up for people that are hypocrites and liars and bullshitters and general shitty people to other people, then sure. I'm waiting. That's fine, man. That's fine. It's good. This would be good. Good for you. Waiting. Da 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 da. Yeah. Waiting. I'm waiting. Because Harsh doesn't want to do it. That's the whole thing. He doesn't want to do it. He's afraid to do it. He's afraid to get on here now. Because we're not on his show and has all these people. No, you guys, both of you guys can come on if you want. I don't care. Please, both of you guys can come on if you want. That would be great. And great, you guys can jack each other off. It's a joke. Not really. Both of you guys. That doesn't bother me. If you guys want to, contradict each other live on air, that would be great. Great. I mean, are you guys waiting? What? You guys need some more time? Of course he doesn't want to do round two. See, that's the thing. Is when you have people that are yes man and people that are just, oh yeah. You don't even realize. You don't even realize how someone, as incoherent as I sounded at times, I still handed you your ass. I mean, I get that I didn't have the video clips to actually show you right there, which is fine. I'd rather for people to go watch, their clips, and just watch. You watch it. You watch the hypocrisy. And then that's the way it works. That's the way it works. Waiting. Come on. I said you both can come on. That shit don't bother me. Whatever, like I said, he makes you guys feel more comfortable and it'd be great. Waiting. I have to add you. Are you gonna come on? Is Harsh gonna come with you? You gonna bring him? Bro, what the fuck you talk? What the fuck you what? What the fuck you talking to? Or who am I talking to? I'm talking to anyone that's going to pretend that the Green News Network aren't being jerks, and that anybody that doesn't acknowledge that they're hypocrites. I mean, that's the truth. Harsh has got the link. I want him to officially pass. Like I said, man, let's see if we can get Harsh first, or you can come on there too. I have to add you what? He's got the link to get on. Harsh has got the link. All right. So I guess Harsh isn't going to come on. All right, Gary. If you're down, I'll send you a link too, buddy. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay. Hello?
What's up, man?
What's up? Let me make sure all this is set up right. Everybody can see.
What's going on, man? And I'm talking about the leading of all those people from all across the country to Philadelphia, and the transition of the people into the Green Party of the United States and all of these affiliate states across the country. This is, to me, man, this has become very, very toxic. And what I'm trying to say from my point of view, man, is that it's very, very hard when you're asking people to help grow a party from the bottom up, when you're asking to diversify a party who for all practical purposes lacks people of color, right? You want to say that these are options that we have outside of the two-party system that has basically oppressed us and has done this bullshit to us for decades upon decades, but yet your platform says we are here that accepts people from all walks of life. And this is the type of bullshit that is going on. Tony and Eric, I have tried on numerous accounts to bring you two together because I felt like if you could diffuse the differences that you have with each other, then our party could go to the level that it needs to go to. And I'm not going to leave out the fact of the toxication that exists on national with coerced delegates, with coerced co-chairs, and the level of intoxication that exists with people who wear too many goddamn hats in our party that's supposed to be decentralized. I've about had it with this bullshit. And so what I plan to do this morning is I'm going to ask some very serious questions to the Green Party. Because you can't go no fucking where without people of color in this party. You can't win no elections, okay? You can't do shit. And you can't ask us as people of color to continue to organize in this party, to do a goddamn thing in this party. Hell, if to even stay in your party. As this level of intoxication exists, I don't give a goddamn if it's from Tony or Eric or any of them. Who all of you have green values inside of you. Your asses wouldn't be affiliated around or anything about the Green Party. That's the fucking truth. We are no better than the people who we left. We are doing the same bullshit that the Democrats have done to manipulate, divide, and conquer. I come from a city, for some of you who don't know, who is one of the most dangerous cities in America. My people are depending on me and this fucking party to succeed. And so, while the Democrats and the Republicans play political games behind border security and things of that nature, people in urban communities where I come from are suffering after February. As of Friday, funding for public housing and things like that will be no more. This is not the top level conversation at the helm of the Green Party. Yet you say you want to grow a party that speaks to, for, and by people, but you won't go into our urban communities. Scared to knock on our doors. Or we feel pimped in your party because you form little caucuses, or you had the meeting before you had the meetings with us. This is what goes on. And I've collected so much data because when I raise not no other person of color comes into this Green Party. So the Green Party has a decision to make. I'm not one to be played with, man. Okay? When I stood up in my city and I became conscious of what was happening across this country, I saw it through the progressive movement of Sanders. But we coordinated, myself, Billy Taylor, and a few others, coordinated all that shit up to Philadelphia to the DNC. We controlled 4 of the 6 fucking permits to the DNC and a lot of the delegates who were aligned with Sanders. So do you think that we have time to be playing any fucking games in the Green Party with this movement that we have created across this country? We're not playing, man. So the question now becomes, you, Chad, have a voice. What can collectively we do? Because for Stein to even allow that on her platform was wrong. She's the face of our fucking party. She is who drives in the money to our party right now. Whether we agree with Stein or what happened with the recount, whether the fuck we agree with Cobb, whether we agree with Andrea or any one of them. Stein's the fucking face of our party right now. So until we nominate a new person, then what are we doing? We have no fucking money. We don't take money from political entities. What the fuck are we doing? So we have to make a decision. The Green Party has to make a decision. I brought a lot of people of color into this party, man. And I'd be goddamn if we be pimped for our diversity in here. while you guys try to figure out what the fuck is going on because you're the elitists, progressives, socialists, communists, whatever the fuck you want to be called in this party. And while we wait for the Democrats and the Republicans to sort out their differences, and you're supposed to be the party of the future. And meanwhile, while all this bullshit is going on, people are homeless, people are unemployed, murders are happening at the hands of cops at an alarming rate. We're having wars across countries. Our environment is fucked up. We have so much more as Greens to fucking offer, and we are not exemplifying ourselves. So I will not be a part of any of that bullshit. I don't care if you are a friend or a fucking foe. My job when I came into this party was to build a movement to take down the two-party system, to begin the process of opening my people's eyes and showing them an option outside of the two-party system, and to build a party with you based off of what the fuck your platform says. Like I said, your platform says it. We live this shit every day in urban communities all across this fucking country. So I'm going to need all of you to start talking about answers to what the fuck you're going to do before I send this letter to every black person in this country with all the evidence I got and tell them to walk the fuck away from your party. And I want to know what's going to be done. Because we cannot function like this. Every state Green Party co-chair who agrees with the fuck I'm saying should join in our efforts to strip this entire shit down, man. All of it.
Exactly. And and that's where the angle that I'm coming from. I know a lot of people think that my critique is for a negative, but the reason why I want to push it so much is you either you settle it or it continues growing, you know, that the mold, you know what I'm saying, it continues dividing. You have to have a house together. The house that has to come together, and if you don't have those values, those things that you say you respect and acknowledge that shit, then like you said, you're not going to move forward. I'm everything you said is exactly my point. You know, but for me, I'm new in the Green Party. I'm new diving into this, and as I'm learning, I'm seeing this shit. I'm like, is this not the same thing that people?
Doesn't make sense, dude. It don't make sense. Here's the problem: you have new people of color who are coming into this party because the angle that we're coming from is we need diversity. There's no way we could take down a two-party system if we don't have diversity in this party. If people of color aren't being exposed to the caucuses, the committees, the lit serfs, and things of that nature to help them understand the 10 key core values and the 4 key pillars of our party. The reason why we have kept so many of our people inside of the Black Caucus that we have in some of our states is because of the level of intoxication on the national level and the surrounding states. It's very hard to sell this ideology when you can see it and it speaks to you, but the people who are operating at the level aren't doing the work that shows us that this is where we belong, and it's very hard and it impedes on our ability to be able to grow this party. Look, I'm a co-chair in New Jersey, and I step back because to me it says, you know, at the end of the day, when I see somebody come and bring a proposal to me to have somebody on national who should be following bylaws and conducting elections, whether they're staggering elections or whether they're elections that should have been conducted on a yearly thing, but then asks our state to sign on to it. That becomes a problem or an issue for me. When we're supposed to be decentralized, it's one thing to offer an opinion. It's one thing to feel like we're bullying or ganging up on people to force something that they say that they have done right. There's mediations and processes for that. But then when that person who's been in the Green Party for decades uh, colludes or comes and cohorts a co-chair in another state, causes a division between other people in the state, all based off lies, like what happened on national. And you know, it's very, very hard. I cannot stand by this. I will not stand by this. I love the Green Party as a collective, and the only reason why I came here is from the likings and the understandings of people like Bobby Seale the original founder of the Black Panther Party, who urged us into the Green Party, who urged us to use the platform of the Green Party because he taught us of what the Black Panther Party stood for and its socialistic ideology. And so, for me, that's the reason why I came here, understanding that a movement could be created through here as a way to show our people the options that we have and really educating our people about what has happened and why we are where we are at right now and where we are trying to go at in the future with a party like the Green Party. But we cannot, and I'm sorry for my rant earlier, but I've put a lot of work into this Green Party, a lot. Even trying to run on a steering committee, trying to help the Green Party U.S. understand. But I even saw the politics up there with the likes of the Andreas and the Cobbs and even the Steins, and we have to fix it. You cannot, want to try to hold accountability from the lowest level of our party if you can't want to hold it at the highest level. You can't ask to build a party from the ground up. My mom and father always taught me that if the house ain't on solid ground, it's going to fall. And so we have to have a mindset that says that I come from a place where you have to survive, where you have no choice. You either survive or get ate. You understand? It's either one or the other. You either survive or get ate. So we don't have no time to be wasting, man. Because where I come from, people are suffering. Where I come from, people are homeless. People don't have jobs. It's not good. And so I think as Greens, we have to take a look at that holistically, man, and look at what it means to us to be green. What it means, what example we're supposed to be setting for people who are looking for a way out. What about the new millennials who have come into our party? Do they have a place? Do we feel like our millennials in our Green Party have a place here? And if they don't, we need to start making a place for them because we need to understand at some point they are going to take us over. We need to respect that shit. We need to respect the women in our party. Our men need to understand that sometimes we have to shut our mouths and open our ears when our women are talking in our party. Because just like um, uh, people of color women have been oppressed, so have the white women been oppressed in this, in not only in our party, but in their own fucking race too. If we really want to deal with this shit, man, just like there's always been a median between black and white. Blacks live in their neighborhoods, whites live in their neighborhood. And how long ago have you seen a collective group of people come together from all walks of life to stand up to a system and say no more, that we all belong, that we all matter, that if that it's all of us or none of us, that it's the 99% and not the 1%. When have we all come together to say enough is enough? We cannot lead the future or be the party that we say we are going to be with this infighting that's going on, from Tony to Harsh to Cobb to Stein, all of them. And we have to be the ones. We got to be the ones to stop it between all of them. Because the only real reason why I feel like people feel disassociated from the Green Party is because of what they see on social media. It's because of what they see. We talk the talk, but we ain't walking the walk. Now I'm here because I feel like this is an opportunity for all of us. People like me got reach. People like me can reach people. People like me got the ability to help bring people together. And collectively, we all have something unique that we bring to this Green Party. We do. But if we concentrate on our areas of uniqueness, we concentrate on our areas of being green and what it truly means, teaching our people about our environment, teaching them about controlling the means of production in their community, teaching our people of color about raised bed gardening, rain barrels, and simple things that help them begin the process of change. That's where the difference will come in us as Greens, man. We not here wasting our time, man. And some of us is willing to die for this shit, man. And so some of y'all got to get that same attitude, man. And you got to be willing to call your own out, man. Even when you know they're wrong, call them out.
That's the thing, is it allows people to respect you and to hear your point more when you're saying, when you acknowledge their point when it's due, when somebody has a point that's due. You're really speaking to the choir, and I think you're right. I think this is how people feel, but they're not translating it into the right type of actions because we get caught up in this tribal mentality as our little cliques. And I mean, and I see that everywhere. I mean, you see it in schools, you see it in all sorts of things. I mean, growing up in general. So I mean, I understand we're kind of predisposed to act like that. Um, so what? Okay, so as far as the Green Party, so we have this issue, and for me, I think it's the first thing that needs to be battled because if we figure that out, then it gives people, like you say, a solid foundation to grow on, and people have to feel like they can come here and have a voice, and you can't do that by just completely telling Democrats or Republicans or anybody they can't come here, libertarians, like because you want people to come to the Green Party's platform and discuss issues with the on the Green Party platform because you're going to get pushed back with real information. You're going to have a real discussion. But again, that whole design of the platform discussion isn't there, and no, there is no accountability. So what would you say is the would be the process to get everybody on? Because there needs to be some purging, and we have to be
I
honest
think
with
I
that.
think
Go ahead.
I think we have to be honest with ourselves. We know that purging is going to have to take place, and I think that it's going to take place. Not have to, it's going to take place. Um, I believe that we have to. I think you're onto something with this right here, and asking the questions that you're asking about certain individuals in the party. Nobody likes to be singled out. I think everybody feels like what they're doing in our party is the best thing for our party, but sometimes some things could be a little bit more harmful than helpful. And so I think we have to be real serious with ourselves. We have to take a look at the people who are leading us from the top level to the bottom level. And I think we have to make a just decision. Too many young greens I've heard talk about the toxication around the levels of people like Andrea, uh, situations I've been in conventions, national conventions, where I've seen the works of Andrea and Cobb together, um, and that wasn't good. And I had urged them, to knock it off. And certain things they wanted to see happen because of they felt the level of intoxication that was in the party. But nonetheless, these are the people who we tune in every day, whether it be on the Green News Network or whether it be on the Green pushing for a Green New Deal, whatever the new network is for
The
this guy.
uprising, the Green Uprising.
Yeah, the Green Uprising. Whether it's for that. But I think that whoever did that, if it wasn't Jill who did that thing with that post, I think that Jill still has to own it, the accountability, because it's her page. I think that she has to be willing to own it. She has to be willing to say, I did not. She has to be willing to come forward and say, hey, this is not something I did, or this is something that I do endorse. Just because something is on somebody's page doesn't mean that they're running their page. You know what I'm saying? I think that has to be figured out. And, there's a lot of guesstimation I see going on. So, but again, man, I think Chad, I think you wanted something when you're talking about calling out, who's good for our party, especially at these levels of where they're operating in these leadership positions. And then there's a facet of individuals who are also working behind the scenes of those individuals who help the octopus arms, so to speak, continue throughout the states. And I think that if we are going to be effective, uh, I think it first starts with galvanizing states who also agree with us, who also agree that these necessary changes have to take place. I think strictly it can't be about the bylaws more so because being constricted to the bylaws just allows for more levels of toxication, and some of the bylaws have been built around toxication. And so I think because the Green Party has expanded so quickly in the last 2 years, I think that we have to revisit those bylaws after uh, getting and galvanizing enough states, co-chairs, and delegates to agree to do this process of stripping this thing down. I think that there's too many hats being held by one individual or several individuals on the national level that really dictate the arms of and the movement of the party. And we're supposed to be decentralized. And I think that that has to be something that has to be taken to effect. When the last time when we marched against the national party is because of collusion that was going on that was brought to us uh, um, from various other caucuses, and so we wanted a fair and impartial elections to take place for those to be elected to the steering committee. And that process never got underway, and certain people left the Green Party as a result. I stuck around. I still stayed because I believed in the party, and I still do believe in the party. Um, but I think that collectively, those of us who have the mindset and the love for the platform and the will and the desire to fix this party, we cannot wait on elections to take place and conventions to take place. We can't do that. I think that we wholeheartedly have to come together, construct some sort of letter to present to those who are on the national that this is what we want. National would adhere to us. Um, if we have more than enough states and delegates collected together, they would adhere to us and adhere to the pillars of our party and our 10 key core values, especially in terms of decentralization, and allow our party to be constructed with bylaws that will govern and represent all of us as a collective. Um, and I think that's the best way to do it. That's the best suggestion I could offer up if I was to stay here as a person of color to continue to organize from the ground up. But if nothing like that is on the table, then I would be a fake as a leader, fake as an activist to continue to go out here and say, it's okay to come into my state Green Party, but you have to understand that we are a part of national, and national is drives the overall directive, but national is dysfunctional, and so we just turn a blind cheek to national. We just keep building our state party, and we'll never get there, dude.
That's honestly my, my hardest part. When everybody, when you try to say, hey, this is what's going on, whatever, that's kind of the excuse. Oh, well, you're new. Go out there, go walk around. They try to tell you, they, you know, get people in. But for me, I think more of, okay, if you got the right shit, the platform's there. But if you
Right.
package it and you design it and present it the right way, motherfuckers should be pouring in. And to me is the question, why isn't that happening? And I do music too, so I know a lot of cats. I understand that there's motherfuckers are hurting and they don't want to hear that shit. They want
Right.
to be able to go somewhere where motherfuckers are saying, hey, this is what's happening, this is the hustle, this is how they're doing it, and this is how we can come together and build together. And it's embarrassing for me to want to bring somebody into that, because it's like I want people to take me serious. And why would somebody take me serious if I'm trying to say, hey, come into this thing where none of us are really being treated with respect, just because, I'm not doing it the way you want me to do it, or
Right.
you don't like my ideas. I just
Right. It's like they got to understand. They got to get away from that because everybody brings something unique to the party. So if policy is your thing and you're an expert on policy, then you should be working from the national on down to your state level on policy. That will help shape in our party. If you're good at fundraising, then that should be what you stick to. Everybody has to find their niche in this party, and it doesn't come overnight. Some people get
So
activated, what I mean, in some ways, and some people get activated in others. But I think that collectively. So let me ask you, Chad, like, would you be willing to participate in a mediation between um, the Cobb side and the Harshingham side? Because I'm really ready to diffuse all of this shit, man.
Dude, absolutely. Because what I want is what needs to happen. It is to acknowledge where motherfuckers are getting it wrong.
Right.
Acknowledge the
so
hypocrisy. Hold on. Let me finish, William. Acknowledge the hypocrisy. So, like you say, we can move forward. Because I like the idea, and I got interested. Politics, I was getting into it a lot more, and then obviously the whole Bernie brought a lot of people in, and you follow the train, you eventually get to a point where you're like, you it's like supporting somebody in the Democratic Party that supports a corrupt system. It doesn't make sense to me. So
Right.
I want shit to work, and that's what I said. I like the idea of cleaning house, because that's what I thought originally the Green News Network was, and that's why I wanted to I'm like, that's awesome, because that's what nobody's doing. And that's what's going to bring people in when they see, hey, here's a party that they're actively weeding out the shitty characters that we don't
Exactly.
like from other parties. That
so
go ahead. Anyways, go
I
ahead.
just want to say regarding Harsh, I I was like begging him to come on, but no, I guess he doesn't like you, Chad. He says you should quote unquote practice what you preach, and he said good night. So I'm just like, well, you can't ask too many times without looking
So,
absolutely desperate.
well,
But I
well,
really wanted to have that debate again because that audio is just messed up, and I just think people missed out. But that's just me.
well.
But anyway, I just wanted to say, Gary, I'm so happy you're out. I didn't get the opportunity to talk to you via voice after
Right.
you got
That,
out, and I
yeah,
made
man. I
that
wanted to
page
say
for you.
thank you, man. I didn't get a chance, man, with everything going on with this court case, the election and everything going on. And that's the thing, man. Some of us Greens got real serious issues going on as we're out here, not only trying to help build the party, you know what I'm saying, but really advocating on behalf of the people and the party. Greens help lead the efforts in Camden for us to have an elected school boards. And, subsequently, man, I called a charge. I don't have a lawyer. I need to raise money for a lawyer. And I'm looking at this party like here's a party I believe wholeheartedly in right now, man. And I'm without a
Wait,
lawyer.
Gary, you need to raise money for a lawyer because we can do that with your page,
Like,
with the free
like,
Gary
yeah,
free.
Hold on.
like yesterday. And the thing about it was, man, all of it was because we beat them 3-1. And people are starting to realize that they have options like in the Green Party, right? And so my thing is this is the sense of urgency that has to happen right now, right? And we have to fix it now because people are coming in, people are registering green, people want to know more about the Green Party as a whole. But guys, we can't we listen, some of us have got to become real leaders, and some of us have got to step up and say, enough is enough. Whether we like some of these folks or not, we can't play this tribal game. I don't like that freeloader word either. I don't like that because where I come from, man, it's times when I had to go to my neighbor, man, and ask my neighbor, could I get a loaf of bread or a couple dollars to get, a few things, man, because it ain't so great where I live at, man. And so when I look at the Green Party, who has the ability to teach us how to grow our own vegetation in our neighborhood because our soil was so bad, or the knowledge to even tell us that our soil is that bad, that we shouldn't be growing anything in our ground. I have to hold the Green Party accountable and say, hey, you guys have got to fix this shit because I want to be here for the long haul, but I don't understand how collectively we can move forward. But William, I wanted to thank you, man, because when I got jammed up, man, my son really stepped up, and you really stepped up. And you, God only knows where, but I was really proud when I came home and I started reading all that stuff, man. It made me. That's what made me say, you know what? That's that type of stuff made me say, being green is this is why I'm green. But to see the stuff that's going on right now, you know, I feel ashamed to be a green, and I wouldn't dare ask or do any other action in the Green Party for that matter. You know what I mean? Until the stuff is fixed. Like, and I agree with Chad. Like, listen, if we are going to be the party of the future, just because people don't see that we are the way right now, doesn't mean we disown them. It doesn't mean that we talk down on them. It doesn't mean we do any of that. What it means is that they just don't see what we see right now. It means that we have to keep pressing our way, and the majority will always rule. And so, at some point, if they don't get it now, they will come. If we build it, they will come.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, I'm right there with you.
But I
Um,
mean, Gary, you said you wanted to raise money for a lawyer because we can do that real easy with this
Yeah,
page
man.
me and your son made.
Yeah, I think we'll talk about it offline, William, and I
Yeah.
definitely want to talk to you about it. But Chad, man, I think,
look,
look, man, I was listening to y'all for a couple of days before I decided to weigh in, man. And nah, man, I ain't never been one that was gonna ever be as you can see now by my words, you can tell.
right,
I
right,
don't
right.
play games. I don't take sides. I don't do none of that shit. Right
What?
is right, wrong is wrong. And I feel like this continuing shit between Eric and Tony and them has to go to mediation. Myself, William, Pounds, a few of us have tried it all. Have tried it before.
Right, right. Well, and So here's what I want to do here with Green Party Nation. So basically, again, it's the four pillars, because I feel like you could take the 10 key values and put them under one of the four pillars. So like I feel like it's
Right.
all redundant anyway. So that's first problem.
Right.
But I feel like, again, having a platform for people to have a conversation and to create a real debate system where people can have debates, shit can be fact checked in real time. People can have the conversation, and then we can really build a way to discuss stuff. And obviously, I mean, even myself, I got to get better. I want to get better at this shit. You know what I'm saying? And not be so emotionally triggered about shit, and be able to process and put it in. So I'm all about that. So when it comes to, like you say, the mediation thing, however we want to do it, I think it can only be good for the party, because even if you just address the issues and you put people like that, it doesn't need to be face to face. I mean, obviously, just like this, and have some sort of structure, and then we could have it where, like, if you feel okay with cuss words, whatnot, that could be one of the rules. You know what I mean? Like, you can cuss in it. You can whatever. To make the people that are having the debate system feel more
Inclusive.
Exactly. So, dude, I'm all for that. The thing is it gonna be? Can we get them on a platform to get it doing, and we can stream it on everybody's thing at the same time, which would be the thing to do. Everybody's shit, so that way all the Green Party, no matter wherever, can watch it, and we can have this real discussion.
I think it has to happen that way. It has to happen that way because too many people are divided one way or the other. I read in comments where people say, we were told by Jill to ignore GNN and all that other stuff. Then I hear GNN. GNN knows, like I know, that they are green. You understand what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what they say. I know that they're green. Yeah, there's some great people over there, and this is what I have to say too. You have to also understand everybody don't kiss Tony Smith's ass in GNN. There's some great people working inside GNN that really want to diffuse a lot of this shit and really want to do great things. I think what you have right here is a form of mediation as well as conflict resolution. If you think about it all in one, it's a platform that yes, it is on the social media, but it also offers a way for other people to see, hey, these motherfuckers in this party are serious. When there's problems going on, look, they're showing you. They're handling their shit. They're bringing it to a fold. But what happens after that is what's the concern. How does the person leave? Or how does the person walk away feeling afterward? Have we come to a resolve? Were we able to bring those two people together? Whereas though the green love sticks out, right? And we're able to move forward. And so I think I know I can talk to Eric. I know I can definitely talk to Tony. I can definitely talk to Harsh. I can talk to him. I just think that there has to be a willingness to say that, this is bigger than any of us. I think we have to look at it from that perspective, and we have to look at what we are doing and why we started doing this to begin with. You know what I'm saying? And I think if we stick to that and look at where we are at in this country right now, we're 32, 33 days, I believe, in the shutdown right now. And we need to be collectively coming up with a way as the Green Party collectively to emphatically get this government open. You know what I mean? And this is an advantage for us, really, as the Green Party. If we weren't so much fighting amongst ourselves, this could be an advantage and a pivotal point for us to seize more people into the Green Party. To infuse more people.
I'm very very sorry to cut you off, Gary. So sorry,
No,
but
you're right.
Harsh just messaged me and then he said, "Oh fuck it, let me see." I don't I don't
All
know
right,
if
get his
that
ass
means
on
he
here,
wants to
man.
come on.
Yeah, get his
Yeah,
ass on here.
yeah, get his ass on here.
That's right. Because Harsh and them, they know me. I don't take sides. They know me to be a person, man, that really I'm all about trying to fix the issues, man. I want to fix it because I believe in this party, I believe in this platform, and we got some great people, you know?
Right.
And regarding that, I just want to clarify something. Because you said you stepped down as a state co-chair for
I
the.
said I'm thinking about doing it. I'm definitely thinking
Oh,
about
you're
doing
thinking about. Okay, what has
it.
Andrea been doing, like dictating you and stuff? Because you said you mentioned something about that.
Well,
If
it's
you're
not so much
comfortable.
as her. It's not so much as her as I see it coming through the likes of other members of the Green Party. Like on the Green Council meeting we just had Monday, someone was asking for her to be to come to our Green Party National Convention. I mean our Green Party State Convention coming up in a couple months. And I'm thinking absolutely not. Like with all the intoxication that's going on, why would you even ask for her to come here and now let her try to get into the ears of other Green Party members? Nah, I think that Andrea is very toxic for our party. I see it. A lot of people see it, and we have to do something about it. Whether I don't think that I think she means well, but I think at the end of the day, she doesn't real. I don't even think she realizes that some of her ways are bullying, oppressing, and outright landish. And I think that a lot of people feel disheartened by that. And I think she's going to have to come to terms with that at some point because we can't move forward until people like her have been stripped down, whether she likes it or not.
So
I
can
love
we?
her as a person, as a Green, but this has to be done.
I mean, and see here, I just my thing is, as I just have a hard time. I have a hard time just putting up with it because I'm just so tired of. I'm so tired of that attitude because you see it everywhere. You've seen it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So I mean, the whole purge, the Green Party purge, however you want to do it, because I feel like something we could get people riled up, you know, with memes and that's the best way to get millennials, young cats interested in is give them something to do. And if we say, okay, let's call out these are the people, whatever, even if we start with 5 people, just to prove
Yep.
we can fucking do it, just to show people like, hey, look, if we actually, and this is practice, if we can't remove somebody out of a position of power in our own party, how the fuck are we gonna do it in the real
And
fucking world?
how we gonna do it? The Democrats and Republicans. These are like the top people of our fucking world. And at the end of the day, you think they're just gonna hand this fucking government over to the Green Party? You're out of your fucking mind. There's going to be casualties, man. And I'm not talking about. I'm talking casualties in all forms. I'm talking deaths. I mean, if those of you who are around, you think when Steph Rich was about to expose what Hillary Clinton was doing, where's he at? He's dead. He's dead. Okay. So this shit is for real. And so we gotta have a mindset to understand that, like, this isn't a fucking game, man. We're not doing this shit for nothing. People's lives are at risk right now, man. You understand what I'm saying? And especially those of us who they know are the movers and shakers. Those of us who have the ability to galvanize people. You understand? And that's the thing. When I live when I come from a neighborhood, I'm from a part of town, like in Canada. I could claim like I'm from the Centerville section of my city. Well, I know a lot of those people. They know me. They know my work ethics. They know what I do in my community. They know what I'm about. They more reluctant to follow me. You understand because of what I'm doing, and they see it's positive than they would for a system that they be getting fucked by. So that poses me as a threat. I'm even more of a threat that I'm with this progressive ideology with a bunch of people that's not my color who have taught me the ideology. And now I'm urging those same people to come into my neighborhood and help me teach it to my people so we can take down the same people who have been oppressing us through a democratic system. You understand? So this is what I think the Green Party has to be aware of. We lost a co-chair in South Carolina. He's dead right now. He was a Black Lives Matter co-chair. He's dead.
Well, crazy, and and that's and there's the other thing is understanding what the standard operating procedure of the establishment is, and part of that is obviously, like you say, smearing. The casualties can come in all, like you say, all sorts of different ways, but obviously murder and death is one of the things that's is probably the most scariest part, because if you really are fucking causing some sort of ripple and you put your shit out there in that way, I mean, they can fuck with you however they can, however they want to, so and there's the other thing, like you say, the Green Party needs first of all, it needs to have a whole stack of attorneys for every fucking state, so they can have people working on these bullshit things for the Green Party. So
especially when people get in jams.
Oh
when
my
you
God.
have like in my case, like you know that they would come for me. I got people not my color in my city on the ground at polling stations. You understand, challenging them for the right to an elected school board, which deals with the one of the biggest budgets in South Jersey. Come on, man. Come on, man. So I think we should have that representation. We're supposed to have lawyers in every state that are green to be able to represent whether criminally or whatever. Right. Exactly, man. Right. They don't acknowledge it out loudly, but I think, but that's where we have to become, and I think that you have to create that space because the millennials led the charge in the Sanders movement, no doubt about it. And so I think with the millennials infusion into the Green Party, you have to allow for that same space. And it has to be from a leadership perspective. They can't be having their own caucus and you just, oh, the millennials got their caucus and that's it. No, the same thing with people that come from urban communities. I think that the Green Party at the national level should represent what its platform says. It should represent people from all walks of life, and they should be the head of the fucking party. A representative from each state represents on national. You understand? That is sort of how the formality is right now, but you have certain individuals who control the dynamics of the party as a whole. And that's where it becomes a huge problem. But Harsh is here. I saw him come on the camera.
Thank
So,
you
Well,
so much, Gary, for doing that, for saying that. So
Hello, Gary.
before we start,
What's up, man?
before we start, before we start, I just want to say something.
Yes.
Harsh, thank you, Harsh, for coming on.
Yeah, I was sleeping, and then you guys wake me up. It's just
Well, it is. I suppose it was attractive enough for you to come on. And then
yeah,
second, I just want to say I know it's gonna probably get heated, but let's try to keep the volume just a little bit down,
mhm.
regardless of how angry anybody
well,
gets.
that's kind of
Let's just
I'm
keep it down a
I'm
bit.
past the
that's
anger.
well,
I'm
that's
past the anger. I think this is
Great.
fun. At this
well, no,
point.
no, that's
Great,
well, that's
great.
more.
Well, let's have
No, I was
fun.
gonna say.
Let's make this fun.
Well, I was gonna say
Let's
that.
make this fun.
That-
I mean,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Let's get to a resolve, Harsh, because here's the thing, Harsh. You, Tony, and Eric, all of y'all bring something unique to our party. You don't have to like a person to work along collectively, side by side with them. And today, tonight, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 5 o'clock in the fucking morning, I don't care where you are, we have got to begin the process of resolve.
all right, that's fine. I mean, step one would probably be Eric. Step one would probably be Eric. Retracting his statements about how when he's accusing me of telling Cobb to, kill himself. That's what he accused me of doing. So I'm like, I don't know. But do I have to work on some things? Obviously. I'm just at the point where everyone is hypocritical in some sort of aspect. It's really gotten to that point.
I mean,
Chad,
I
no,
am.
I mean,
I
Chad,
am.
no, I mean, Chad, I hate to see, Chad, if I wasn't your friend, I wouldn't have come on such late notice. But see, the thing is, I do stand by the comments I made in the post just now. You talk about everyone being hypocritical, you talk about everyone being a certain way, but yet you spent more time talking about how stupid everyone is than you have growing your page. And you talk about me being a hypocrite, but what that just talks about doing stuff online, but what have you done besides stuff online? So
Are you asking me? Are you asking me those questions?
I'm asking you both of those
Okay,
questions
okay.
because when I see a guy who's had a page for 5 months, only at 27 only at 30 likes,
We've
and he's
been
supposed to be like a whiz kid, I'm like, huh?
Okay. Well, let's.
let me
Well, no, let me
my page too.
let me
My
let,
page too.
but
I
let
just
me
want to.
but let me
Right,
answer this.
But he does most of the shows.
But let
and
me
he's like
let me
doing
answer this.
shows about how
I just wanted to say
Well,
Chad
idiot,
has been
so-
helping
Well,
me
hold on.
with other
Hold
projects.
on, y'all. If we going to do this right, if we're going to do this right, we already set the ground rules when we said that we would allow for space. So if we're going to allow for space, Harsh, you ask them questions. Allow them
Right.
space to respond to the
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Okay.
I try to follow up on questions.
Okay, so you had
Okay.
you had two.
No, I know, but let's get somewhere, guys. Come
All
on.
right, yeah, okay, no, this is fine. No, I like. Here's the thing, it's different too, because Gary's here. Gary's has a voice. The reason I feel comfortable.
Well, Gary's been with
Well-
me at the most memorable moments.
Well,
so
no, but here's okay. So
I love you,
the two
Gary.
questions, you had, one was about what have I done, and two, why is my page only have the page that only has 37 people on there? So let me just point this out, that you're asking these questions in rebuttal to the response to the way that you and GNN and your actions and the way that your behavior, that was what the question was. So when you don't answer or discuss your behavior and the supporting of the behavior on your end, and only answer it with, well, why does your page only have 37, and then what are you doing? You're trying to put me in a box and to tell me what is acceptable and what is not acceptable, as far as and what timeline that you want me to be in. Does that make sense? What timeline you expect me to have a certain type of show for what I'm doing in a manner for you to see it. Does that make sense? Because you even asked before, you said something about Flint. You said, have you been to Flint? So you're using these litmus tests to use as to say, okay, why my points don't matter. The number of likes on my page does not change what I say about your guys' actions and the way that you treat people. The what I'm doing, what you don't see, does not change your guys' actions and what you guys are doing and me responding to that. Those are two different things. Now, what I'm doing is, as to grow the Green Party Nation, there is a developing process in order to understand it. Two, the Green Party, obviously, we're having this conversation. There's obviously something going on. There's obviously issues. So for me to be able to say I want to be a part of a Green Party and want to build something, I need to know what is going on. So I've taken a lot of time to study and go through the steps in the process and arguing and going through this whole thing with all these Green Party in order to understand, to say, if I'm going to get behind a thing called Green Party Nation, I have to know what the hell I'm talking about. So that's the other thing. So my timeline is not on your timeline. And as far as growing this page, you're coming on it. So I mean, that's a moot issue. Like, I can either acknowledge what GNN is representing and how it's represented it, and acknowledge that some of the things that you are against is the same operating procedures of the GNN. And I say that because understanding how you, Tony, well, I would say Deb and Ty, appear to be the four prominent, outspoken people, and it tends to be more of your guys's flow of things, because that's just the way the power structure from the outside and from what I saw on the inside.
Right. Well, as for power, I wish I had that type of power at GNN. It'd be a lot different. But I'm just kidding. No, I kid. No, but as you know, as Gary knows better than everyone else, we have a board. His vote counts as much as mine, if not more than mine, because people like Gary more than they like me. So that's what it is. I mean, I like Gary more than I like myself. So
No, I I
ahead.
think harsh though, man. Let me get some clarification because the Green News Network does have a board of directors. It says a board,
Right.
and I think we kind of try to let people be themselves in what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because we see it as an outlet, and it's not. I think the misconception comes in when people try to associate that with of speaking for the Green Party. I think each individual has its own uh, feeling about certain things that's going on in the Green Party, but I think collectively we all agree that we need to change things that are happening in the Green
Right.
Party.
And,
And
and
so,
if I and I've never been like a complete, oh, I speak for the Green Party, blah blah blah. I've never been that type. If I was that type, I wouldn't have people from everyone on the political spectrum come on the show. So that's never been a thing. Does GNN love my shows? Do they love my shows? Yes. Do they support me as much as they support Furious and Deb of course. But again, it's not the same thing per se.
Well,
So
I
well,
just I just wanted to say this. I just wanted to add on Harsh's point that I like Gary more than I like myself too.
come
well,
on, guys. I think the thing of it is, I think
Gary,
I
you've
found,
done great things,
well,
but I
and
found a
and
place.
you were
But
on
but
my
here's the
show
thing.
when we exposed that guy in real
well,
time. So really, you've been a part of a lot of memorable, moments
let's.
when you think
But I
about
think
it.
I think I serve a purpose here in this party, man, and that purpose is, to help this party be able to see its potential, what it can do, and I think it depends on people like you loving yourselves a little bit more too, and appreciating what you too bring to the movement. And I think that if we spent more time focusing on what's at hand and critically observing these things, I think that we grow this party. Again, man, harsh. I think the elephant in the room is the issue with Tony and Eric. That's a big issue, and I think that we need to fix it.
Yeah,
I don't care what
but
you guys say.
And let
I don't care what you guys say about not being
yeah,
interviewed in
all I
magazines.
know is that whoever's gonna fix it between Tony and Eric, it
well,
can't be Chad and it can't be me.
well.
Because
Here's. Let me.
Eric is not interested in listening to me.
Let me.
I try to talk to him for an hour about all this. He's just like, you associate with fascist, you associate with fascist, da 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 da
Well,
da.
but see,
Well,
that's
maybe
see.
it's
Hold
me
on.
and Gary.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. See, but see, there, harsh. There's the thing is that's the same MO that GNN has, the same MO that Tony has, and that you don't speak out against. That when Jill says something, you go and do your little video too, and then you blame Cobb, and then but without any proof, then you do that. And originally for me, when I originally
I'm
came
not
into
a one-on-one with Eric, not like not like in public.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I wouldn't want to do it in public. I would
Right.
suggest
I was
it
talking about
not
one-on-one. When I talked
Well,
to Eric,
you see, here's the thing.
he wasn't interested.
I'm talking about in general with Tony. Is that's what Eric does. He does the identity politics and does that. Just random calling people things, just like Tony. So my point is, why are you against it when Eric does it, but are not vocal about it when Tony does it?
Well, in my defense, I did call out Tony on Saturday, but I'm like, Tony, this Saturday, don't call out the burners. Don't tell them they're stupid because
that's not calling somebody out.
I know
That's being
think harsh. I think look. Look. If don't nobody else know this, people know. I had my ways with Tony, and believe you me and Tony had some words. Um, and quite frankly, I didn't like Tony. But I talked to Tony one on one, and you know, everybody has a perspective, and I kind of feel a different way about Tony. I never stopped liking Eric or nothing like that. Um, I just feel like here you have two people who have the potential to do a lot of great things. You have the Green News Network that can drive in tons of money into our party if utilized
really
in
could.
the right manner. I feel like even with Stein in there, I mean, honestly, folks, we have got to fix it. Stein has to own accountability, even if she didn't put that up there. She has to own that accountability.
Well, it's
I
under
think
her name.
mediation has to come with her.
Well,
It's under her name. Mediation
right.
and conflict resolution has to come with her. And I think we have to do it with the normal formality style.
Right.
Something like that,
And
as big as that is an in-house issue, and it needs to be handled in in-house
you're
Zoom
right.
or
But
something.
but I think it needs a public forum is important because
Right.
when these things, because here's my whole thing is it's supporting your tribe, and here's something that
Well,
hold
Chad,
on, let me finish
Oh, sorry. Okay.
all right, so we're gonna speak on this. When I originally went in, we talked about the democratic process. We originally went in. I initially sent a logo idea to Tony before he even nominated or even had the meeting to nominate me to have the discussion. I sent it to him, and then he called an emergency meeting that day. I've got the screenshots. We had the meeting, and I told him that because I had sent it and I put it in both chats of the idea, and he said, do your thing, you're gonna have pushback, but just do your thing, blah blah. That's what I was told. And
Right.
even in the chat, even Harsh acknowledged that Tony said to do that. So after
Yes.
so Tony or Harsh just acknowledged that. So then I changed it. It was there for 5-10 minutes until Joe changed it back, and then Joe went on and said this whole thing about a process. We have a democratic process in order to choose. Okay, cool. So we actually voted on it, and I've got the screenshots to show that there was a certain amount of votes, and it was voted on. So from my perspective, coming in, not giving any type of real structures, except saying, hey, do your thing. These people are going to push back, but do your thing. After I've already shown you from the very beginning the concept of the logo, and then I'm going to get pushback and say, okay, that's fine. We'll vote. We voted, and then I address in the chat, say, hey, what's going on with the vote since that happened? And then I'm going to get pushed back from someone. And again, the MO is like, people are allowed to talk how they want to, talk shit and cuss, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But the problem is when someone else does it to them, all of a sudden everybody goes up in arms. And I put Joe in his place, and that's what started this whole thing. And then and in the whole voting process was completely left over, and Tony's even spouting it off, saying that there was never a voting process, and I got the screenshots. So it shows that Tony is lying about that. And then he told me, I've got the screenshots showing where he said it was because of the way I talk to Joe, and which you can't say that and one thing and then say it was because and then another screenshot saying it was because of the logo. So when you have someone that is the leader, whatever you want to say, he is the leader of GNN because he is the face of GNN, however you want to go around it, is if he's lying about that, and then you know about it, but you don't actually stand up and say, hey, that whole process, the way you guys did it, was fucked up. And rather than acknowledging and saying you guys aren't democratic aren't being democratic, you support and then let Tony continue his thing and continue the whole thing. And then this is where things get out of hand, is because you don't stop somebody on right then being a liar, and then you have to continue protecting them, and then it becomes a tribal thing. Anytime somebody calls somebody out for being a liar or a hypocrite, they have the proof is there. I mean, why is it okay? Why is it okay for Tony and GNN, for everybody to call out there, but it's not okay for people to call GN out for doing the same things?
First things first. Do I think GNN needs to be a bit more tactful sometimes? Absolutely. You can't always. I mean, yeah, you should wear your emotions on your sleeve when it comes to letting people know where you stand, but at the same time, there are times you have to be more, cautious and not always make yourself a target. That being said,
a target to who? Like, so when you say that is you're saying that is you don't want any pushback by saying, hey, you guys are lying and you guys aren't following the rules.
No, I'm not talking about that at all, Chad. I'm talking about like other stuff. I'm talking about other issues.
Yeah, can I
Go ahead,
interject?
I kind of wanted to finish first, but
no, I just want to.
But as for the chat stuff, I really think it was just the way you and Joe went at it. If Joe was, being, himself, because I've had issues with Joe in the past too, when it came to like who would be a security guard and who wouldn't for the, for head of security for GNN, and I'm like, Joe, if you think it brings someone better, find me 3 guys who could do the job that our current security director is doing. And he couldn't do anything. So with people like Joe, No, you can't really yell and cuss them out as much as you just have to shove their logic back in their face.
Well, I mean, I
That's
did
what
shove,
that was about.
but I did shove the logic. If he wants to, if he wants to come at me, telling
You went
me
a little too,
no,
a little too overboard about it. It was
well,
it was,
no, because for someone to bring me into an organization to say, hey, bring your time in, you're not getting paid. You obviously thought I knew what I was doing to bring me in. And for someone that's excited to put my energy behind something and then to say, do your thing, and then to have somebody that doesn't know my expertise have the floor to talk shit to the new guy who's actually trying to do something and be honest and real, and then to not stand up for that, and then to allow the bullying, and then allow the whole thing to take place, when you could have said, hey, Joe, this isn't your expertise. When he said, hey, your shit sucks, after I'm like, okay, I asked, you guys voted, I'm following the rules, and your shit sucks, I'm gonna say your shit sucks. You don't comb your hair and you're running for fucking Congress. You see what I'm saying? You don't get to tell me what looks good and what sucks and what pops if you don't care about your presentation. And that was my whole point, is that if you guys as a whole are being able to call people out and cuss and call people names, and I'm not allowed to do that to somebody within the thing acting like you guys don't like, well, you guys are hypocrites. And for you not to acknowledge that shows that you either don't realize it or you don't care. And and that pisses me off, because I wanted to put my energy because I liked the idea. And I mean, I'm trying to figure out ways to do it, but who wants to deal with that? You know?
I just think it was miscommunication among things. That's what I think.
I think that's the way Tony runs things. That's what I'm saying, is that you can look at all these other scenarios and the way he lies, the way he, like, there's the last video, he's like we don't need no leaders, blah blah blah, and says, like, you know, blah blah, leader, fuck anybody that wants to be a leader. And he's like, we need better leaders. Like 2 minutes later, it's like I seriously think shit's not all there. And what blows my mind is the complete and utter support that you and so many other people just blindly give. Anytime he tags 50, 60 people to go in there, you guys just start going on and totally ignore. So it's like this: if you guys say that you're just a media organization, that you're not represented by or you don't represent the Green Party. In fact, this last rant, Tony said we're half political, half media. So you make up your mind. Like, people are saying different things. That's why there's no congruity.
Officially, they're a media organization.
Well,
they got
but that's what he
trademark for
said.
it.
But see what I'm saying? Officially or not, he said that's what he said. Officially, what did he say? We're half whatever. But
I don't
see,
know.
but see,
well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the way GNN is run when it comes to board meetings and such. But because, you know, I mean, Tony puts his heart and soul into the page.
But that doesn't matter. Heart and soul, but lying and cheating and pushing anybody out that pushes back at your authoritarianism is that you see what I'm saying? You're okay with that, but you're not okay with Eric Ryberg doing the same thing.
Scheme of things. I was also gonna say I don't like the way I don't like the way they're not tactful about things from time to time either. Like, it's the thing between you and Chet, between, you know, you and Joe and whatever. I think that situation could have been handled differently by both sides. I think if you were more like, oh, Joe, don't be.
So you're trying to tell me of who I should be, and instead of saying this is the operation. Remember, I'm coming into a group. This is the way you guys, as a whole, as a company, a group, is operating. This is the way that you treat somebody that has an expertise, that knows what he's talking about, and this is how you let people, a business, an operational, that's not how you operate if you want to be successful, nor or if you want to have some sort of integrity in the way that you operate.
Well, I mean, you don't cuss out your coworkers either. It's look, the bottom line is you had the right, you were right on point, but it was just, I don't know.
I read the comments.
I'm just going by the way I went after. I've dealt with situations with Joe in the past. When I say those things, I'm not talking about the way everyone should be. When Joe and I have had issues about certain people in the past, we're like, okay, Joe, fine. But okay, Joe. When I talk about the security director, okay, Joe, fine.
But see, that's you. That's you. That's you. You're okay with with letting someone steal your time is what you're saying. I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with because you know.
I'm okay with
I
putting
would,
people in the police without having to cuss at them. That's what I'm okay
No, wait,
with.
with cussing. Listen, that's your guys' mode. That's the way you guys operate. You can't say cussing because that is the exact way you operate from the beginning. Tony represents that. That's the way you guys represent it. When you say that, that's hypocrisy. That's saying you're not allowed. You're not allowed to do the same things that we do to anybody when we push back, and that's hypocrisy.
I want to.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Well,
I want to.
let's hear it from
Okay,
William,
for starters, everybody's a hypocrite. Let's just keep that in mind.
right, absolutely.
Well, but let's be
I just want to
let's be
say
clear,
I'm a
though.
hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite.
But that doesn't take away from the conversation, the specific conversation
I know,
here
I know,
about them
I know.
being hypocrites.
I want to switch it up a bit.
Tactics,
I want to
Chad.
switch
It
it
has
up a
nothing to do
little
with
bit because I want to cover this
personality,
one.
it's
I want to
tactics.
cover something else.
Go ahead, pal.
So I want to talk about one of Rydberg's posts.
Which
Wherein
one?
the Green News Network page, or I think it's Tony Smith, calls Rydberg a freeloader. Now, me personally, I hate that word. I hate that word as much as I do any racial slur. I don't like the word freeloader, and you know, I just think it's overtly. I think it genuflects to capitalism in a way that I don't.
Well, that's
And,
a very astute observation. So,
and you know, and I just think it's just not a decent thing to call somebody. I mean, sure, I think calling somebody an asshole or a fucker is more decent than a freeloader. Personally, that's just
Wow.
me. But I
Yeah,
want to hand it over to Gary on what
Yeah.
he thinks, because I'm pretty sure he has a refreshed point of view that everybody will benefit from.
Yeah.
So let's give the mic to Gary.
Yeah,
I
Gary,
think
would you like to
I-
field this question? Because
Yeah,
I don't want to talk
think
about that.
I think Harsh. I think if we want to be truthful about it, there is a certain level of authoritarianism going on in the likes of some of the things that Tony does, um, overtly sometimes. But I will say that I believe Tony means well what he's trying to do, but I think that again, I have to agree on Chad's side that if we are to be the party of the future, then we have to be reflective of that. I think that we have to tone it down. We have to tone it down, and we have to start looking at ways in which we can utilize the network to be able to work more beneficial for us in a way that helps us, than harms us or divides us. I think I read the comments with Chad, and I think what was the other guy's name? I forget his name. Joe, I think it was. Some comments that were going on back and forth with him, and I think you have to be able to gauge certain people's aura and the way they font when they're talking, because you're not necessarily talking to them out of your mouth,
Right.
face to face. And so I think certain people, when it comes to addressing, I think that certain people don't want to be cursed at. Period. I mean, we curse. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Some people
Joe
might,
hates being cussed at. Joe
yeah,
hates
some
cussing in
people might-
general.
some people might frown upon that, and I think you made a great point, Harsh, when you said, "Well, that's like being, in the workplace. You're certainly not going to cursing at your coworker the way that I see some of these comments. It would be if we were cursing, it wouldn't be as the way that I see some of the comments. Because then it would be if it's personal, up close and personal, then it could go either way. It's just that it's behind a computer, so you're not face to face. But I think we have to come to a conclusion that says that we have to be conscious of the way we're speaking to people. Period, because that's what our Tankico values teach us, right?
Right.
And so I think that's what we have to adhere to.
Absolutely. Yeah, Gary, you're so correct. You're so right about
But
that.
I mean, I've been guilty of it too. Don't get me wrong. When I get in my rants, I go to fuck off too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't even get me started on
Well,
my rants.
well-
Don't even get me started on my
But I mean, if we're really trying to fix this thing, though, guys, and I think we're the ones, because I think that at some point, either Eric and Tony are going to have to come to mediation And I think if they're not willing to do it, then we have to be bigger enough to stand up to be ready to either disaffiliate ourselves, or we have to be able to say, you know what, this is bigger than Tony. This is bigger than Eric. What we're doing is bigger than either one of them, and we have to be willing to stand by that as Greens
Well,
and move forward.
right.
This isn't
Yeah,
about a fucking This isn't about a cult. This isn't about some fucking groupie over here. We got groups over here, groups over here. This is about a collective of us working together. And so, you got to be willing to call a spade a spade. Eric, if Eric's causing shit, he's operating through Jill Stein's page and putting shit up he should be putting up, then that has to be addressed. Jill Stein should recant that statement if it wasn't her that made it and said, hey, what individuals do with their individual selves, with their individual networks is what they do. You can't say that somebody's not reflective of something if they're trying, to be reflective of something. They might not always be exemplifying it. Because if that's the case, then all of them need to go because everybody on the national doesn't every day exemplify green values. So who is one that casts a
Well,
stone, man? You know what I'm saying? I just think we all need to just take
right.
self-check,
and
self-evaluation. The Green News Network has always been green, always been part of the Greens, and we need to fucking get our shit together, man, and come back out firing. Because meanwhile, on the ranch, while we're sitting back arguing and fighting, we're being infiltrated by Democrats every single day and neoliberals. And what the fuck is they doing? They're fucking infiltrating our party and dividing us even more.
well,
And
they
now you guys are calling each other fascists and shit like that. But fucking deep down inside, you guys have the more of the green values and morals than half of the motherfucking planet. So I mean, at the end of the day, when are you guys gonna say enough is enough? Harsh, we can't listen. I love Tony. I love Tony to death. But that don't mean I won't fucking stand up to Tony either. So I'll
Right.
put Tony in his fucking place. Like, listen, man, we can't keep doing this. And that's what's going to end up happening. The same thing with Eric. See, y'all know I'm not going to pull no punches with either one of them.
Right.
The bottom line
Yeah.
is you guys have got to be the leaders who are willing to stand up and say enough is a fucking enough. And that has to not only stem from the Green News Network, but that also has to stem to the Cobbs and the Steins and the Andreas and all of those who we feel like what Chad is doing. Chad has a platform right here that's calling out the toxicology, the toxication in our party. Now, if people don't want to be put on the hot seat, then people will change their shit, right? But
right.
at least we're showing the people who are actively involved in our party, who don't normally participate in our caucuses, our committees, who don't get to see our lit serves. At least we're showing them active base movement that we are doing, that we are
Right.
taking action within our own party, and we're weeding out, like Chad said earlier in the broadcast, we were speaking about weeding out certain individuals and weeding out certain issues in the party because at the end of the day, man, this isn't about us. Some of you, if you have kids, this is about their future. If you don't have kids and you plan on having kids, this is about their future. And
Right.
again, I have to stress this: if we're not making a comfortable spot for the millennials in this party, you know where Gary Frazier is going. Gary's going over there with the millennials. I'm destined to live forever in my mind, but I'm gonna go over there with the millennials because I know at the end of the day, the millennial Greens, they're gonna take this whole party over at some day. They are.
Yeah. That's so true.
you
I-
know, and let me comment too on the. I mean, here's the thing, and I agree. Here's the thing. I understand about gauging, conversation and being put into a situation, where you say, okay, well, you should be a little bit more, soft or thoughtful about how you speak on something. For me, like, I've been around too many real motherfuckers to put up with too much for too long.
That's me.
I mean,
and that's
so
me.
and the way I looked at it was like, okay, well, if you go in, and like I explained it, I already mapped out what I was doing, before I even got put into the thing, and then within 2 days I changed this, and then I'm following this process, and then I'm getting pushback, and I'm getting treated this way. So at this point, it's not about me saying, okay, let me talk to this person in this way. It's me saying, okay, this is how these people operate. This is how they treat people. So I'm obviously not going to be able to, because I'm not going to stay in any situation, for long. If that's the way it's going to be, if this is like this little hierarchy thing that people have been there for 2 years, and that means that they're allowed to dictate. So it wasn't like a coworker. You know, especially
Right.
it was more. I mean, especially if the way you guys set it up is like if it's like a community, it's people that are on this board. It's like, okay, well that means my opinion matters, especially to put me in this social media position. And I was I was put into because the day that I showed the prototype of this logo idea that I had. So if I say that, and I said that in the meeting, it's like it blows my mind. It means nobody's either was listening to me, or they didn't care,
Right.
or they ignored. So to me,
Wow.
that says more about the character, because and I understand, like, there may be good intentions and maybe have those values, but I'm at the point where it doesn't matter. Bernie Sanders may have good intentions, but it doesn't matter when you're hurting something, when you support lies, or you support the same thing that you say you're against. So for me,
Right.
that was my reason
Right.
for speaking in that way, was because the only way to shut down a bully, and that's what Joe is, and maybe, I mean, he's a bull, whatever. Maybe not to you guys because you know him and you whatever, but to me, the new guy and my expertise, and that's the way he treated. He got what he deserved, and to say, hey, you have no right to talk about anything when you don't comb your hair. And it hurt his feelings, and it got him all up, and whatever. It just, again, what it did is it showed it showed how the dominoes fell, and it let people show their ass. So for me, that's the thing is I like to be able to call somebody out if
Yeah.
if I have to.
Yeah,
know.
speaking of calling people out, yeah, you know what's the reason I didn't like the way like how things ended between you and him, and you yelling at him and stuff, and him saying whatever, because I kind of had some plans in place at the time to where I was like, all right, if Chad can just survive this little thing with Joe, then hopefully I can make sure that Chad is like our permanent guy. That's what I was trying to do.
Did you tell that
I
to
was trying to
Tony?
plan all that shit.
Did you tell that to Tony? Did you stand up to Tony and say, wait a second, we did vote on it, and you actually voted on it, Tony. So, and you told Chad he could do what he wanted to, and then Joe stepped in trying to tell
But
Chad
that-
what he did, and then
But
Joe
again,
Joe is the
that's
one who
when it's a
started.
tactics
But
issue.
but you hear what I'm saying? But see what I'm saying is that you say that, but you expect me to allow to be treated, mistreated, lied to, disrespected, all because you had this magical plan that somehow I'm gonna be able to stick around. Why would I want to stick around where people that they tell me to do
Because
something?
It's fun when you get your way at the end. That's
What?
why.
No,
When
it's
you
not.
get
But
your way at
that's
the end,
it's
like,
not about getting my way. It's not about getting my way at the end. It's about saying, hey, are we on the same page to do something? It's about having real discussion, talk to real people. I don't want to play politics. I don't want to play this little game where I have to manipulate you into you trusting me or whatnot. These people show their ass and how they operate, how their operational works behind system. There was no call for a vote to kick me out. There was just kick me out. There was no let's have a mediation.
the way it
Hold on.
unfolded,
There's
there
no
was no
me-
choice.
there's no mediation. There's no process. And then it's all Tony saying he kicked me out because I didn't want to go through the democratic process when there was a democratic process. So my point is if
I
you
have a question.
yeah.
I have a question. Okay,
I
so
hate confessing that, but I did.
I just
We have
I
to
do
it.
have a question about how this happened. So so I guess Joe Manchek, Superman, alien guy,
Yeah.
said that said that Chad's logo was ugly, and then Chad said his hair needs to be combed, and that led to shit going down the drain, right? Or shit coming out of the
Something
drain.
along those lines.
Well, that was the escalation after we went through the whole conversation, and because we went through it the first day after I changed it and had this argument thing, and they said we have to vote for it. It's like, okay, and then Harsh started the vote, and then we voted on it, and I didn't say anything till the next day, till later on in the day, and said, hey, so what's the deal about the logo since we voted on it? And I mean, I can pull up the thing, and then he's like, "Well, in my opinion, like, it sucks. Like, come back when you have a better like." Rather than telling me, let's have a meeting about it. Let's have people more discuss it and say we want to do a revote. If you're in a leadership position,
Well,
You're
I mean, if
you're
you
supposed
said
to
it sucks,
hold on. Well,
you had every right to say his hair needs to
well,
be combed.
but and that was my point. That's my point. Is if you feel okay, comfortable coming to me and telling me, which is fine. You don't have to like it. That's fine. It's not about him liking it or about even using it. It was about the attitude I dealt with. And it's like, okay, I want to make people I want to make people be like, God damn, I love that fucking shit. So glad you came in there. So I want to get it right. But I'm not gonna sit there and let somebody, like I said, that doesn't comb his hair try to tell me what sucks and what doesn't. I'm sorry. I'm serious. Like,
Oh my god.
I mean, but that's the truth. But you see what I'm saying? A real motherfucker like me that deals with real motherfuckers that would, I mean, would never fucking deal with that shit. Never. They corny. It's corny for me.
Yeah,
for me
it really is corny. That's some corny shit, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. That's some corny shit, man. Like, and I mean, that's like two chicks going at it, man. Like, come on, man. Like, for real. Like, no, we got way more serious problems, right?
Yeah,
Right,
that is
right.
true.
Don't y'all agree, yo?
Yeah,
so,
we
like,
have way more
somebody-
serious problems. And remember, Chad, I did try to get you with this, and I did also recommend you for my page to squash as well. So it's not like, you know.
Well, I mean, and this isn't about you and what you're trying to involve me in. Again, like we can separate the issues. That's the whole thing.
Right.
Is that's why I try to say, as I respect you, and I think you have a lot a charisma, character, and that's why for me I feel like it hurts you for you to support something that is so blatantly, obviously, I mean, hypocritical, and that was my whole point, is that you don't see that. And why a motherfucker like me gets so mad is because when somebody cares to put their energy into something, and you're like disrespected about something that I was obviously respected at 1.4, you know. So it's you know, and then not being able to have the conversation. That's the other thing too, is you can't have a civil conversation with anyone, even Ty. Like, blows my mind that rebuttal thing that Ty. First of all, Ty is another guy that's a fibber or a liar. The guy had the audacity to even bring up the way that I dress. You know, like, that has nothing to do with the conversation. But that guy had the audacity to tell me about the way my hair looks and about the way that I dress. Ty,
I mean,
that
he
guy
dresses like everything under the sun.
Well, but there's my point. And at the beginning of the whole thing, the whole beginning of the whole thing is, we don't care about this whole Jill Stein. Nobody cares. And you can watch these videos and watch the whole thing, and you see how by the end of the time they've contradicted themselves like 5 or 6 times, and all it is a little echo chamber, and then that's the way these 4 people kind of do. And even, like I said, even Deb goes in there and tells Jill Stein to shut the fuck up, and then gets upset, like, how could you even tell somebody to shut up? How I can't imagine some, you know, that's so wrong. Like, in the video, in your show's called Shut the Fuck Up. You know, and you're upset that somebody would tell someone to defriend someone or ask to not follow someone, when Tony, the same guy that you're applauding, did the same thing to William with me when I pushed back at calling him out for, hey, this whole situation.
I didn't even know about that.
Well, but
I didn't even know about any of that until William brought it up.
Well, but see, here's
well, I mean, it did happen, but I'll just be clear that I've sent stupid messages too.
well, I mean, but that's not the point.
I mean, we all have.
And that's not the point. The point is the blind following and the blind, like, ass kissing and the not enough. Hey, dude, you're being an asshole. Like, everybody is not a goddamn Democrat. Most of these people believe the same shit you do. That doesn't mean, you know what I mean?
There are times I have criticized him and called him out in the past, but again,
but you're not talking about. Go ahead.
Here's the bottom line. The bottom line is this right here, man. Look, man, I watch all the comments.
I mean, if Tony did that to you, that is pretty bad. If he's doing that stuff, I mean.
Look, I think it's wrong. Period. I think if we're fucking Greens, we shouldn't be doing that. I don't care if it came out of Tony's mouth or whose mouth it came out of.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Wrong.
I usually unfriend. Yeah, because I usually unfriend people for sending me those types of messages, or ignore them at least, if not unfriend. So I
It's
don't.
wrong, man. It's wrong, and I don't care what nobody says. Like I watch all the comments, I read a lot just because I don't say it. Now I get when I get frustrated is when I start fucking saying shit. But
Right.
I am going to say this, man, that I read the comments, and there's an overwhelming number of people, man, that do agree that a lot of the shit is asinine. You know what I mean? Whether it's being done by Tony, Eric, whoever, it's not right. It has to stop and it has to cease. And I think that some of us have to be bold enough, and I'm taking that step to be bold enough to tell Tony and Eric that they have to knock their shit off before we have to do something about it. If they're not willing to go to mediation and come to some sort of conflict resolution with one another, or go to some sort of conflict resolution with one another, again, then the
Tony,
question now becomes harsh.
I was gonna say
William,
Tony's in the chat.
Chad, what's the next step for us as a whole? Because we are representing something. I don't give a fuck what you say. You're green.
Well,
No.
well, there's the thing is, regardless, even if someone thinks or not, they're still representing it because they fly the Green Party banner, and that's
right.
that's the key, and that's why I mean I feel like it's healthy to have the conversation and go at it, and you know sometimes you gotta go hard at these cats because for me that's the way I look at it, because if this is the way people argue, you know the way that you have to give them a little bit of dose of their medicine in order for them to show their ass, and that's what you see. And
I mean, guys, we have the potential to bring. We keep talking about we don't take money from these political entities. We don't take money from corporate entities and all this other shit. You have two big, strong networks. Two strong networks. And I think you have to look at that. This is not a fucking competition. This is about getting the word out. This is about educating. This is about teaching about our environment. This is about teaching about the importance of healthcare. This is about the importance of bringing candidates on who are representing our states as Greens and getting them exposure.
Yeah,
That's what
and
this
Gary,
shit should be about.
yeah,
And I also think it's let me just say this. I also think it's about refraining from calling people things like freeloader. I'm just
Yeah.
going to just expunge on that just one last time
Right.
because
Yeah.
I just think it genuflects too much to authoritarianism, capitalism, and stuff like
It does.
Right.
It does. Harsh, it does. If you think about it. If you think about it, Harsh, it really does. If we're talking
It
about
does.
destroying
Oh, no, I
capitalism,
agree.
if
I'm
we're
just
talking
saying with
about
the
destroying
things that
capitalism, then those type of words shouldn't be coming out of people's mouths. Period.
Right. No, that I agree with you 100%, Gary. I'm just saying, first thing, the things that Eric and Tony have said to each other, that's just a bloodbath. I don't know how you bring those two together to mediate. That would be fine. But Gary, I'd like to ask you a question.
Yep.
How do you bring mediation from one side who wants to change things, albeit in their own, well, we've criticized their ways before.
Well,
but the other side doesn't seem like they want to change anything. How do you bring some sort of compromise and
It's
like
simple.
mediation?
It's very simple. It's very simple because there's one side that wants to keep things operating as business as usual. There's another side that says no, we need to take this party to the next level that's inclusive and brings everybody in. You have to start by going state by state, as I've said before. State by state, those who are in agreement that this must be done and what we're talking about at this level, then we have to bring those individuals together. And this is why they're hiding behind those bylaws and are allowed to continue to operate the way that they are. As long as those people have to adhere to the bylaws, there's not going to be change. We have to be that as such as said, okay, we adhere to those bylaws, but we're still saying as a collective that this must happen. If this doesn't happen, then we have to figure out where we want to is to say to these individuals that this can no longer go on in our party. We cannot get prepared for any type of elections moving forward. We cannot get prepared to do anything moving forward until these things are addressed. And I think as a collective, it has to be done.
Well, that it does, but
here's the thing, because it's such a muddy issue, because you have these people like you say, the Cobb and all these different people that you know they're tied into, and there's a lot of things to unpack. There's a lot of conversations. And
it is.
And
there is because quite frankly, I don't know if it's I know it's going to sound kind of weird after the few weeks we've had.
Oh Oh yeah.
But
So hold on, guys. Tony's talking on the feed, and he said he's down for conflict resolution. He's down.
what?
He's willing to mediate. He's down for
Well,
mediation. I'm
Really?
reading the comments
let
right
me
here.
invite him onto the
I'm
Yeah,
reading the
invite him
fucking
on the
comments
show.
right here. I'm reading the comments right here, and he said he's
Mm.
down for it. And so this is what the fuck I'm talking about us being a party, man, about
Right.
us bringing this shit together. Because quite
All right.
frankly, if
Well,
this doesn't happen, I'm leaving.
yeah, same here. I've actually already got one foot out the door. So this is like the last hurrah. If everything was like Illinois when it came to the Greens, I wouldn't complain all that much. Well, except for getting more ballot access. But anyhow, the thing I was about to say before our guy Tony Smith said that was, I don't know if it's a behavior issue as much as it's a conceptual issue or a approach issue. Because like I was saying before, if it's still like status quo versus let's change things up, I don't know how you come to that term. Now, if both sides really do,
Well, let's get through one issue first. Let's first come to the conclusion that Tony is willing to come on and have the conversation. I think that's the first thing. I think we put the cart before the horse. Once we can get past that, and I think if we can all get on the same terms, I think we all agree. We all agree that National has to be stripped down. We all agree that.
they
right?
really do, because you can't reward incompetence. You really
Right.
can't.
So let's
Like
get
if they
through the
were good at their
conflict.
job, it'd all be tolerable. It would
Well, I don't
all
think
be
it's so much as them not being good at their job, as them not understanding that the sense of urgency right now to grow this party effectively. And I think that comes from that comes from the separation in the cultures. I think that also comes from the lack of understanding the broader scope of what's going on around the country. They're looking at this thing from the Democrat and the Republican side of it, but they're not really looking at this thing holistically and how it could really help us in growing this party from the ground up.
right.
So I
Absolutely.
already sent Tony Smith the joining link in the Facebook Messenger. And maybe I should send it to Eric Friedberg too, but I don't even know if he's watching. But I
Well,
want to get everybody on,
yeah, I
and
think
I
this is
just want
awesome
to
shit.
release it
That
all to
your
the
views are just going to go up tremendously, which I would have wanted to happen any fucking way. And I would want it to happen for a reason because I see this as a platform, an open platform. When shit like this happens, when we gain control of this party the way we want to, this will be a way, another form of fashion for people to see that we are fucking serious about what we're doing. We're serious about the people we're bringing into this party, and we want to grow this shit effectively, man.
Right.
And my main thing is like, people have to go somewhere. If you don't give somebody a home, a place to go to, you defeat your purpose. And I'm all for it. However we need to make it happen.
Yeah, let's get Tony on here, man. If we can get Tony on here, get him on here. I read in the
We
comments.
also need to get Rydberg on.
Yeah,
get
we need to
Rydberg
get Tony
ass.
Rydberg on.
Get
That would be
Rydberg's
incredible.
ass there. I wish we could get Cobb's ass here too, because we need to diffuse
See,
this shit, man.
well, see,
and
here-
we
here-
need to emerge out of this
Well,
shit,
here-
you funkus.
Here's my
All right.
See,
I won't do any impressions tonight.
I
Sorry.
I think this is like and I say it's like a poster child. This is an example of, and that's why I've continued down this road, because it's meant something. Because it's example of a problem that's in all parties everywhere. Is you have what's going on in this little infighting thing. So I mean I lost my train of thought.
Well, get it back, man. Get it back.
Get it back. I'm excited. I'm excited about it, and I think it is a great way to do it, and I want to make it as inclusive too for other people to be able to really come in and have a chance to feel validated in their fears and their worries and what they're concerned with. Because that's the thing, a lot of times is, people may be concerned with something. It may not be the top priority on the scale of fear, but, acknowledge it and address it and say, yes, we understand why, this is, it gives people an opportunity to feel comfortable.
And and also about this type of format is that a whole bunch of people feel so comfortable about just texting something up, typing something up, and they don't have the fear about just being called out right away or being able to talk to someone actually like we're doing right now. You know, it makes it much things become more clear because miscommunication happens so often, when you're just texting rather than actually talking on the phone or on
Right.
Zoom or in real life.
Right. Right. I kind of feel bad for Chad now that I think about it.
Why is that?
Because here he's so cool, he's calm, he's collected, he's like a really good host today. But then I'm thinking about the show last week, and I'm just like, oh my god, people are
Well,
gonna
because
remember it that
I
only.
was I was telling you it was a mess because there was echoes, your voice was echoing, the screaming and all that shit, when all
Yeah,
we needed was Gary and me involved.
right. But then it wouldn't have been so memorable, though. That's the problem.
Well, I
I,
mean,
I, I, I think it was memorable in a terrible way. It hurt my ears. It gave me a headache.
Well,
there's
Honestly.
how do
there's
you
actually
think I
some.
felt? I was on the receiving end of most of that crap.
Well, I was gonna say there's actually some good. There's some good clips. I got you really good in some there. I've saved there. So
No,
I'll separate those out and make it easier and do a little you know.
So,
But anyway, we need it.
for the
If
3-month
Tony,
anniversary, Chad. I did mark it as an anniversary, so I'll bring you back on in April, and then you can post like some of the positive clips.
Well,
okay, so like if Tony is gonna
April.
come on soon, because he said, I thought he was in the stream. I thought he was commenting on the stream. But I want to get Tony on here. I want to get Rydberg. Those are
Right.
the two goals. I want to get them
Right.
on, and I want them to hash it out and get it over with.
This has
Yeah.
been an ongoing thing that we've tried to do behind the scenes. Me and Pounds tried to do this a while back. Harsh, you were part of it too. I think that this is the glue of our party. We'll deal with national at some point because when we clear this up, and when we clear this up, then national can no longer divide. And I think it's been able to do it. It's been able to manipulate through a lot. I think I'm not even going to speak on the Ty situation because I feel like at the end of the day, Ty was free to speak how he felt. I think people like him we're going to need at some point, right? So I think
Mm.
we need to clean our shit up, and then I think the reality of things it might change the perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. As for Ty, if we're not cleaned up, then Ty's gonna say what he says. But if we're cleaned up, then that crap doesn't happen. So
Yeah, I know.
it's a culture thing,
I think
really.
Ty,
But see, that's
Ty is very powerful in what he does, and a lot of what we orchestrated through GNN with Ty
but
has helped us galvanize and bring people into the party, and he's not even green.
Right.
but see, but there's the thing too. Is like, I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I mean, I don't know the guy. The guy's a bullshitter, and the guy is just all over the place and just says whatever he wants to say, and none of the shit makes sense. It's nothing ever is kind of even coherent. I mean, I'm all over the place, but at least I have some coherent shit, and I get it, but.
Well, I mean,
I'm
let
not.
me say this.
Hold on. Well, let me finish my thought real before, and my concern with that whole thing is again it's like you say, like they have charisma, they get character, and it's for me that's what I thought from the beginning. I'm like, okay, cool, but when you have people that are just out for arguing, and they don't and they argue like a child, and they don't have real talking points or real points. It's like I mean, I know when somebody's I know the difference between someone that deals with real motherfuckers and someone that doesn't. Because somebody that doesn't, they get away really quick, and they do their best to run their mouth, but not allow any kind of dissent voices. Anyways, I don't have anything good to say about him.
I wanna personally say I enjoy watching Clutch My Pearls whenever I can, and I
Fashion
think
Dog.
it, yeah,
All the
and it's
lies, William. Give me all the lies. Oh, the
Love him. Love him
Well,
to
but see,
death.
but that's the thing. Like the
but
motherfucker's a
I
liar.
just want to finish my thought now, real quick. But I don't. I think the fact that Ty was talking about the way the Chad dresses just sounds weird. Because
Oh.
Ty dresses up like everything under the sun, and I would think Ty would appreciate the way somebody individually expresses themselves through the way they dress.
Well,
So I don't understand why Ty
But think about
would
that.
be criticizing Chad's wardrobe.
And so think about that. Think about that. Somebody to use that as some sort of argument in general. It shows the level of maturity.
Why do you think I wear suits on a show when I host a show with them on Sundays? Why do you think?
Well, here's the thing. The point is what I'm saying is
see,
that
look, I'm matching too, everybody.
Listen,
hey, see?
but that's not what I'm saying. For him to this whole conversation, that to be what he focuses on, that to be some sort of argument, that you're going to use something that someone could easily. I mean, there's plenty of things people could call you basic, and I'm not using that as my ammunition. I don't need to use that. I don't care. I don't need to dissect you, because if I dissected him, that motherfucker's gonna super get his feelings hurt, because I'm hip. I'm hip to how motherfuckers act. I'm hip to motherfuckers that don't even hear what they're saying. They're not even acknowledging the cognitive dissonance and the hypocrisy in the shit that they're saying. To say, fuck Jill Stein, this whole blah, 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 and they'd be like, well, we still support Jill Stein, and we don't care about it. None of us care what GNN about what Jill Stein said. Who cares? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if you didn't care, why is there 50,000 messages on that thing if you didn't care about what she said? So it's like,
I just
well,
want to finish what I was.
So they're showing character, and that's what bothers me. You know what I mean? I mean it's just part of it.
Yeah, I get you. But I just want to finish this because there was a whole thing where
Tony, Tony, why don't you stop chatting in the chat and be a real man and get in here? You say you want to have. Hold on. I know you sent it to him, but he's still typing. He's still running his mouth in there. But see, that's the way Tony does. Tony, he'll go in there and run his mouth, but he won't put his ass on here on camera and get talked to face to face in a way where his talking points can be knocked down one by one by one. So when you're ready, motherfucker, get on here, because all you do is run your fucking mouth. And if you really want to fix this shit, get your ass on here now, or you're just going to continue be a goddamn little bitch. Seriously. You're at work. Oh, you're going to work? Oh, exactly. You always got something. There's always some reason why a motherfucker can't actually get his ass on here. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Anyways, his whole point is Ty gets 1,000 views. Who cares? Fucking all these motherfuckers get great views. That doesn't mean you have integrity that you get fucking views on fucking Facebook. That's the whole thing. They're lying. They're lying. You guys have no argument, and I mean, see, that's the thing. That's the thing about Tony. Tony runs him out, and he's one of those people that they're yes men, and like he tries. He's very good at playing someone and say, oh well, yeah, come on, I'll do anything for you, except be honest with you, except have some fucking integrity. That's why his ass won't come on here. That's why he'll run his mouth and have time to chat, continue chatting, and do that, but he won't come on here. See, that's the thing.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I agree with you on that point, because he should be coming on like Harsh did.
I think if Harsh was willing to come on here, and have some heated things handed back to him, and Harsh is one of my men.
Which I respect.
I love him to death.
That's some nerves of steel on Harsh over here, Tony.
I had nothing to lose.
Well,
I had nothing to lose after last Wednesday. So
what? I mean, exactly. After I already handed your ass back to you, you have nothing else to lose. So, here's the thing. I appreciate. I do. That's the thing. You don't remember that. See, here's the thing. You don't remember that, and I know you've had your little jabs and shit like that. But see, the thing is, you think that you may have got me because I got upset. But the whole thing is, I got upset is because I care enough to tell you you're being a dick to people that are trying to help. So you may
Right.
in your little
Like,
echo
being
chamber. Hold
upset
on.
is
You may in your
big.
little echo chamber feel like that's okay. You know what I'm saying? I got Chad, but did you get Chad? Yeah, you got Chad to be your friend and get upset to say, hey man, is you're supporting something that you say you're against? Hey man, you're being a hypocrite. Hey man, that's yeah. So if that makes you feel better, if you want to have an anniversary of that, that's fine. But just remember,
So let
just
William
remember.
talk. Let William talk. William wants to talk.
Yes, let's have William
Everybody's
Are you-
had some talking. William wants to have some talking. And William wants Tony to come on and have some talking.
Tony Smith
Let's all
won't
have
come
some
on.
talking. I want Rydberg to come on.
Tony won't
Yeah,
I
come
want
on.
Tony to come on, and I definitely want Tony to come on. I mean, I have to say this, and I'm saying this on the airways because, again, man, me and Tony, we ain't see eye to eye, and y'all know that. Me and Tony clash. But Harsh, you know, me and Tony cool as fuck right now. Why? Because I care enough to understand the guy. I care enough to understand that he really wants something to happen in our party. He really wants changes to happen in our party. You understand what I'm saying? But there is a way that we need to get there to get it done. And we can't get there if we're going to have two powerhouses, you know what I'm saying, going after each other. You understand?
And I mean, the whole thing isn't really just going after each other. They're just doing it behind the safety of their screens, not really actually talking to each other like we are doing right now. This is
Right.
good. We should be doing more of this. I like this.
I do too.
This is real. This is real.
I do too.
Right.
And that
Mhm.
there, I
Right.
mean,
And I think Harsh, I think you play a real great role in this because, you know, at the end of the day, man, I've always told you, man, you know, I've always told the Green News Network, I've told you, you guys have something huge there. I've been pushing them because I know, you know, what I mean, I know what they have there, and I know if we utilize it in a way, it could be very effective for our party. But to have someone by the likes, and I do believe Eric is the one. I don't think, you know, me knowing somebody of Jill, like me knowing Jill and knowing Jill, I like to know Jill's character. I don't think Jill Stein would have put something like that on her wall.
No.
I just think that there was somebody that was working behind the scenes that actually played a role in that, and then it just cause for more division in our party and cause people to pick sides. And I think that, you know, the real people who are responsible, who have done that, I think they need to come forward. But it starts with Rydberg and it starts with Tony. Me
No.
And
personally,
it just leads to people just continuing to type and type and type
Well,
and type and not
see-
actually talk, and it's annoying.
see,
But
see,
anyway,
I just, I'm.
I wanted to
Go
get
ahead.
to the whole tie situation because I wanted to finish one last thing on that. So, I saw a lot of people. Okay, so I saw the Jill page and the GNN page. They were both utilizing identity politics instead of using reasonable like points. So the Jill page would say because Ty used the word cunt, I use the word. My sister calls me a cunt all the time. I don't see what the problem is with the word cunt or with the word dick. It's genitals, whatever.
Right. I mean,
But apparently that was him being a sexist, and then Jill calling or Jill complaining about that makes her a homophobe. It's just all stupid.
well, and
Those 2 points are just stupid. Stop using these straw mans.
well,
and it's all misogynistic. So, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
ex-
Ty is not a misogynist. Jill is not a homophobe.
well, and there's a thing too, and I don't care about the cussing, and I never did, and that the whole word cunt, like this shit doesn't bother me. My whole thing was you know, the only reason why you're saying that is because you're in defense mode because she put something up that actually it says nothing really. It says the Green News Network is not affiliated, which is the truth. And even in the post, you guys say Tony says it, Ty says it, Sabrina says it. Everybody, you're not affiliated because you can't be because you're a media organization or whatever. So you're not affiliated with it. Okay. So if they showed one Jill whoever shared it, and it said it was a share by Tony. It said something about need to bomb the migrant people or fire. I don't know. You bomb somebody. You know, basically some. Even if he's talking shit, it's still calling for violence. People may not understand that. So, I mean, you could pick and choose whatever reason you want to think, okay, well, the GNN is not. I mean, if it's hypocrisy all the way around in the way that you present yourself, then it gives plenty validation for that post. So
I mean,
hold
I'm
on, and if you say that you're not affiliated with it yourself, then you have no right to even get mad if they say that you're not affiliated with it. So, but again, the whole post, everybody shows her ass, and if you look at the way Tony argues, the way Ty argues, it's this certain mentality, and that's why it's like, I don't care if somebody wants something or believes in the party. It means nothing to me when you have somebody that argues like a child on the stupidest talking points. Like, you're a Democrat, I mean, as in when someone addresses an issue about your behavior and it has to do, you go calling other people's names, like, again, the identity politics, that's totally Tony, that's totally Eric. It's the same damn thing. I'm just I mean, I hope that they change the shit, but here's the thing, I don't believe it. I don't.
Well, here's the thing.
I hope
Kai,
so.
We're only gonna get a real dialogue if Tony and Rydberg come on right now.
Right.
It doesn't have to be necessarily right now.
Well,
but
maybe
you might wanna
tomorrow or the
well,
day after.
well,
Schedule that
the
for
point
Friday or something.
is the invitation's open, and the idea is to put the pressure and saying, hey, you know what? Either be a big man and back up your shit, or shut the fuck up. You know, maybe Deb
think
needs
the
to do
bottom
that
line-
one.
Yeah, because the bottom line is this right here, man. We say that national's the problem. We are the fucking grassrooters. But what are we doing? We're doing the same shit that they're doing on national, right? So we're no
Yeah.
different. We're no
Uh,
different. We're no different.
Now,
And so if I'm going to
I-
be a part of something, then we have to make changes. Changes have to be made, and they're going to be made. Rydberg's going to get his ass on the hot plate, and Tony's going to get his ass on the hot plate. And
that's
then
a
we have
lot of hair that's gonna come on that show.
and then we have to a job to do on national. But we have to first clean. We have to clean our shit up too, because aren't we the ones leading the movement, right? So let's get serious about the fuck we're doing too.
I
This
do.
pissing on each other, this pissing back on each other, and using the authoritarian part. It's like saying like they're part, like you have certain facets of the party who know that they have certain individuals behind them who either allow this shit or have no knowledge of it. I'm gonna go with the second one I said. Um, I know Jill has knowledge of this shit. She has to have had knowledge of it, and for her not to say anything about it, well, that speaks to the character of her too, now doesn't it? This is somebody that's representing us and the national face of the party.
Right. Yeah.
So no retraction is going to come from her. I mean, let's dissect it in totality. No, you guys did say that you're not affiliated with, but you do have active Green members who are.
Right.
So
Now,
that in itself is an issue.
Right.
And so if I'm affiliated, or any other Green for that matter is affiliated with it, and if we are going to remain in it, then collectively it has to change on our end.
Right.
Now, as far as Rydberg and them and Stein and them have to be willing to, since she's been the face of the party for the last couple of years, has to offer some sort of retraction that brings this party together. She has to make a formal statement that should represent the collective of all of us. I think that Eric has to have some sort of mediation. Something has to be done about it if he's the culprit behind this. If Cobb participated in it, same thing. We already know
so
we have to do it national, but we have to fix this part first.
well, I mean, regarding the mediation, I just the mediation has to happen before anything else happens, and I think some of the things that need to happen in the mediation is the issues that the GNN crowd and even people who side with the Jill crowd have with the antics with National, the antics that National likes to do. Andrea, for example, likes to do. And the thing that GNN needs to stop doing is the anti-immigrant stuff. I think that's at least an issue that needs to be brought up, and also the whole calling Eric Rydberg a freeloader thing. I think you make yourself look bad when you call people freeloaders. Because again, I know I brought it up again, but it's just something that I don't think should be told to anybody, calling anybody a freeloader.
I don't even know what to
Especially when
say
we're
about
asking each
that.
other for money, when we're asking each other to donate money. I don't think anybody's in a position to say any of that. We're part of the fucking 99%. How can we be freeloading off for anything from anyone for any?
Right. Exactly. Well, and there's your thing, like, you know, and maybe that's something to address too. Is like, you know, the argument, the way that they have the argument. You know, here's my sometimes they may be correct on a position, they may be correct on what they're talking about. Again, but their delivery and the way that they present it is all fucked up, and that's an important part, because especially if you're gonna do a little troll army and send your little trolls out anytime anybody says anything. But one of the things I do hear is, you know, that even Harsh, you've said it. You said, okay, people give Tony a hard time all the time, and people, you know.
Hey, I've seen those
Well,
messages.
but here's the thing. But
Brutal.
why do you think
Brutal.
people would give him a hard time if for no reason? Like, he's obviously doing something, you know, presenting himself in a way that rubs people the wrong way. And if there's enough people saying it, then they probably have some legitimacy to that. So for me,
to a point though, Dad,
but
to a
for
point,
me, good.
you have a following. You have a certain side that says, you know, they're coming from a perspective of hearing him say, you know, the shit that he spews about what's going on national, and how it infuses into state parties and coerces certain delegates or certain other committee people. I think that, and it's not. It's like, yeah, you cannot deny the fact that he has a serious following. That you can't deny that.
Well, I mean but that's not the that's not the issue. There's a
But
lot of
but
right
it
wing, left
becomes an
wing.
issue when it is the issue when you see that the following that he has are Greens. They're Greens. They're people who are picking and choosing the side as a
Right.
result of what they're hearing and seeing.
But what they're doing, but it still has to do with processing. It still shows, it says, okay, hey, if I'm okay being in this echo chamber and I'm blindly supporting this attitude, these actions, and just picking a side, I'm still doing exactly what you're not the reason why you came to the Green Party in the first place. So it in
And not all
one way or
criticism
another, it's not really helping. I get it. So what, you have 1,000 people or a few thousand people, what, that probably most of them aren't really, or here's the worst thing, is they think that Tony is actually being serious. They may think that his talking points are real, but in all actuality, this shit that he says is bonkers. A lot of the stuff he says is bonkers. I don't. It blows my mind that you guys in general can watch a whole thing of his things through and not think that he has some sort of something wrong with him. The guy's got something wrong with him, and to see the total like contradicting yourself in every argument, everything. That blows my mind, and so I'm not worried about 1,000 people, because what happens is once somebody comes in real, and that's why Tony doesn't want to come on. That's why he hasn't wanted to debate me in this way, because he knows if he does, then people are going to see next to him somebody that's a real motherfucker that can shut his whole thing down. Because as much as you guys like him, and I get it, and you want to believe in something because you know him and stuff like that, I get it, and you know,
I don't want to do it because I like Tony. I want to do it because this is bigger than Tony. This is bigger than Eric.
well,
bigger than
right.
Jill,
So it's a poster.
Tom, any of them.
It's a poster child for me to say, okay, either he's going to, you know, humble himself and acknowledge, you know, this whole shit and change those actions, or he's going to continue. A few videos of breaking this shit down will completely destroy the whole thing. And that's what bothers me, is like I could never see somebody as a leader like that for me. I just can't. So as far as like this and working this shit out, you know, still we have to. What's it going to look like? So maybe they. I don't know. I just can't imagine or foresee Tony, you know, to not try to flex his little, you know, I'm the king of my echo chamber muscle. I don't see it.
I mean, Tony could come on and defend himself, but he hasn't come on so far, it seems.
I mean, he never once come on. And one time, he even told me. I have to pay him. So I told him I'd give him $40. Whenever he said I had $20 an hour, that's what he said. I'm like, okay, if I have to pay you $40 to call you out, that's fine. That's worth it. That's fine. I'll pay you that. You know. But see, that's the thing is he backs out because here's the thing. Again, he's lying to his base about the whole democracy thing and the whole thing with me. So that alone shows this guy, the character lacking either. I just don't understand it. He can't actually really believe that. If he does, then there's another problem. Why would anybody put their faith in that type of person as any kind of leader or to listen to? So we're gonna hit this crossroad to say, okay, well, even if Eric and even if Tony somehow patch things up, it doesn't mean shit. It doesn't mean that we should listen to him. It doesn't mean that they're going to adjust their shit. I mean, I would love that, but
they don't patch things up. It doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, but it's not about just patching things up. It's about acknowledging, hey, wait a second, I'm doing the same things that I'm always talking against. I'm doing the very same thing in my own way, in my own version of it, and I'm not going to acknowledge it because I'm too busy with my echo chamber.
I think that my attention would then turn, because it does matter. It does matter. My attention would then turn to, if it doesn't matter for them to diffuse a situation or come to mediation with one another or some type of conflict resolution, then it shouldn't matter to us to figure out what we're going to do if we're as Greens, because we have a job to do. Say it again.
Well, what happens if those two guys are a couple of the ones that need to be purged? That when it comes out to say, okay, well, these guys are too toxic in the way that they treat people, and regardless of how friends or whatever, here's the thing: is we have to be willing, and for me, it is to say, okay, I don't respect really what you have to say. I mean, here's the thing: I respect people and how they feel and what they go through. I want to separate those two things, and what I mean is for someone to say, you know, value my opinion, value what I had to say when I'm constantly lying and constantly not acknowledging the things that I'm doing wrong when I blame other people. You know, I want to. We can't say, okay, we're just gonna let Tony be Tony. For me, I'm like,
no, we can't.
Keep calling these people out. And Eric too. Like, I mean,
I think we have to be willing as the Greens that we say we are. I think we have to collectively gain the amount of people that we need across the country to emphatically have a statement put out. It has to be that serious, man. We cannot tolerate this type of behavior in the party and expect to go anywhere. We cannot tolerate this type of behavior. If we're not willing to go to offer conflict and go to some type of mediation, there's no type of conflict resolution, no type of mediation. We are not willing to offer to ourselves. Then what the hell can we offer to the world? Nothing.
Agreed. Agreed. So I mean, I'm totally with that, because I mean I think it's important to show that you're willing.
And they don't get to choose, and they also don't get to choose when they want to get this done. And so we're going to begin the process of drafting a letter to them, and then we're going to send them a letter, and we're going to tell them that they have to come to mediation, both of them, and we're going to set the date, we're going to set the time, and they have to feed their schedule. In fact, we'll give them 3 dates so that there'll be 3 flexible schedules, and they'll have to submit one of those dates to us, and then we will serve as the chairs who will offer the mediation, and what type of conflict resolution will come before it. We'll start with Eric and Tony first, because that seems to be the total issue.
Right.
I agree. I do think that because they're like two heads of the same beast. You know, one's right wing, one's left wing of the Green Party. That I think that I think you're absolutely right. I think even my issue with it, a lot of those issues will be covered within that scenario because again, it's the same things. I just have a personal experience with those things. So I agree. I mean, I'm hoping you do it, and then shit. I mean, since Eric's so buddy, I mean, eventually, if we set up the platform right and make people feel comfortable, like I said, maybe we can get Cobb on here. Maybe we can go through the whole thing. Maybe all of a sudden, motherfuckers are like, God damn, these people are really cleaning house. Like, what
Guys,
what
we
are these
have to
people
do
about? What are these people
We
about?
have to do it. We have. I know this probably hurts some of us internally because we have close relationships with some of these folks, But listen, this is personally business for our party, man. This is not about our feelings. We like this person. We've established this together. We've done that together. We are on a movement, man, that a lot of people are watching across the country.
And speaking of that too, like big plan. So this whole debate system, right? You know, of course, I want to have the again the you know the design how you want it, but I want to eventually crowdsource and for the presidential nominees for the Green Party, for the debate, whatnot. It would be nice to fundraise a Joe Rogan to be the commentator, and if we were able to put that together, that would be fucking huge to have.
One step at a time. Let's
Well,
just get this whole
well,
mediation.
but I still it's still the the big plan. The idea is where to take this and how to shape it. Because I mean, first of all, I like the idea of Joe Rogan being a commentator because first of all, he would bring a lot of people in, a lot of
What time is it?
good voices.
Harsh, what you think though, man? What you think about this, man? I'm really interested in what you think, man.
I mean, if Gary, if you and William can make it possible, and that's great. If not, then well, okay, Sarah, whatever will be. So it's
Well, Gary and I are probably going to have ourselves a little private conversation. We're going to put some stuff together for his personal life and also what we're doing here. And so I look forward to that, Gary. I really do. Let's try that sometime this week for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to definitely, folks. We need to definitely take the first steps. I love
Uh,
Tony. I love Tony to death, man, and I definitely have a lot of respect for Eric. I met Eric, man, in the movement, man, and so I want to see them to fix their things. But I mean, reading some of the shit I've seen lately coming out of Eric's mouth, and some of the tactics that I've seen, that I know something in me says Eric, I'm not liking. Same thing goes for Tony.
so let's figure out a date. Once we can confirm the date, we can figure out however we want to moderate the rules, and then we can promote the fucking hell out of it. Every fucking green page in the fucking Facebook world
Yeah,
will
Tony. I
get a
think we have
link.
to open it up. I mean, we have to allow them to go at it. I think we should serve as the mediators. We should each be taking notes. Let the cross rebuttals go back and forth, and then we should begin offering up some sort of resolve. To
Yeah, because they're gonna get some shots in first.
Yep.
Because with the way things I've seen the last few days between Tony and Eric, it's Tony said so. Tony's attacked him in numerous ways, and Eric has blamed Tony for things he didn't even do. So it's gonna be interesting to see how that all gets sorted out.
Absolutely. I shared some shit to my wall on purpose, not because I was supporting one or the other, but because I'm taking notes because I've about had it and I want to see this shit be diffused.
Um, well, I think that's a good place to kind of bring it down and call it. But yeah, let's we can come back. I'm gonna try and start doing at least a little chat, maybe once a day or every other day, or whatnot, to try and again build this shit up. So We can
I know we should start in the daytime. I think like if we get an early start in the daytime,
Yeah,
some
none of these
hours behind.
times.
well, I'm sure a lot of people too can listen to this in the morning, getting ready, and
I
whatever.
mean,
Right,
I mean,
But
time zones can be so fucked up.
right, right.
I'm
Well, Chad and I are in the same time zone, and Gary's only 1 hour east of Chad and I. It's and William, you're only what 2 hours away from us, or three?
too.
No, I'm in Arizona. I'm Mountain Time, baby.
Right. So it's only a it's only two. You're only 2 hours
No,
from
I
Gary,
no,
1 hour
I,
from.
I think where Gary is in New Jersey, I think it's daytime when
Five
it's his
o'clock.
nighttime.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, Gary's got to get ready for work in about like 10 minutes.
Yep, I'm
Hmm.
I'm I'm up, man. But most of my work gets done networking. Just like what I'm doing, like right here. And if I have to be in the community, of course, I'm out here trying to, continue the work of registering folks green and trying to bring them into the party. But now I'm at a standstill because of this shit that's going on. And I got people in New Jersey, screaming like, "Yo, what the fuck?"
Hey, Gary, would you okay? Since I got you, would you be interested in hosting? Um, because my buddy's a producer, right? So I deal with a lot of cats, a lot of black guys, black cats, rappers and shit like that. I want to, always have this political conversation. And there is a there's only so much, anyways, that I can have the conversation about when it's the white boy, you know, talking. So,
Right.
um, there is certain things that have to be expressed, coming from somebody in your own world. Anyway, so I want to start really doing something like that, like having an open forum, and have cats from the street really have the opportunity to talk and have a place to go to really understand the hustle that the government's doing and what they're doing it. Because I think if you put it in the format of the hustle, like how the money and all that kind of shit, it'll make it easier for people to, you know, follow the train to say, wait a second, all these other cats that I've been supporting are not, uh, they're not for me. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's something that it means a lot to me because I've had a lot of opportunity to,
Oh
um,
yeah, man. I do it. I definitely do it because part of my life is in the streets. So
dude,
but,
well, I think it's everything because of how much the system sells, black everything. It's the marketing. If the streets were able to understand what the fuck was going on and really communicate, it would come out in culture, it would come out in music, it would come out in so many things, and it would be the way for people to really understand.
and I think it is, and I think that us being able to. That's why I think that's why the Green Party is so important because when you take a look at the Black Panther Party, and I have to keep going back to that 10-point program, and also I'm connected to people like Bobby Seals. So like that 10-point program really taught us the means of production in our own community. It also was showing us the Black Panther Party was also showing us and educating us about the system that has been oppressing us. I think that for us, it's more so not that because everybody knows when we vote our numbers, we outvote everybody. But I think it's more or less of us understanding the conditions in which we in and the games that have been played. We have to educate our people to understand the difference between right and left wing media. That's extremely important. We have to be able to teach our people, the difference between the parties and how the parties derived, um, and how they changed over as time passed on. Those are important factors that help me to understand the Green Party, to be able to come into this organization and use it as a platform to teach my people in places like Camden, New Jersey, that there is hope. But I mean, they lose hope and they lose focus when they see the toxication that's going on in here, and then they look at me, and say, what am I doing to fix it? And I be less of a leader, less of an activist because something happened in New Jersey as a result of somebody that had been standing a long time on national, and came to me on some bogusness, and then caused a whole disruption in our state party as a result. And so I was livid about it, but I thought about it and I said, and I've been thinking about it as the days been going by because it made me feel like actually walking away, and the people that actually came in, thank God I had them on a phone call with me when certain things took place, because I wouldn't have a leg to stand on. Then you got people looking at me as a liar and things to that nature when I'm like, nah, this is what's happening on national with the toxication. And so this is one of the reasons why I want to try to fix it, Chad, man. And regardless of what anybody says or how they may feel, man, I see your heart, man. I see that you really want to do something. You really want to get something done, and nobody's getting paid in this party to do anything. And I think that all of us who have an vested interest in changing the world and fixing the things that we see happening in places in urban communities and just all over the country. Period, man. I think that synergy has to continue to reign forward above all, and that comes with egos being checked and us looking holistically at the people we say we're here to serve. Um, and
Absolutely. Absolutely, Gary. That was a spectacular way to put it. And people putting their egos in check. I love it when we're all able to do that. I was very happy that Harsh finally had the steel heart to come on and have a good old head to head and heart to heart. And I'm very happy for you, Gary, for coming on and reinvigorating this stream with your magic.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. I com- uh, completely appreciate everything you said, and I've been listening, and it's for me, um, you're articulate in the way that you express shit. So for me, I'm always learning, and it's something nice to see, and it's definitely something humbling for me, and um, I could see why people respect you so much, is because you do bring a no bullshit um, to the scene, and you do it in a way that people respect it, and that's I mean we need more of that. That actually makes me feel
we need more
a little
of
more
y'all too,
relaxed.
man, because you guys are awesome. And you know what, man? I came into this party on fire, didn't know shit, man. And I'm be honest. I didn't know. I knew I was on a movement, um, and I saw the Green Party. And I didn't know shit about the infrastructure, but I knew the platform spoke to people like me and marginalized communities, and I hate that word, but it's often echoed across the country. And so I knew that it was speaking to my heart, and so that's the reason why I'm still here, man. And I'm hoping to fix things in my state party, because we got some great people in the state of New Jersey who are doing great things, um, and I just want to see us fix it. But I think they understand, to a degree, and honestly, man, certain things could cause us to act unilaterally, at times. Um, but I think we also have to remember, as a whole, as a collective, that it's all of us together as a collective, and we should be having a one unified voice, and we should be communicating with each other effectively, because that's what's really going to draw people into our party, and that's what's really going to, and then, like what we did tonight. Whether no matter how late in the morning we did this, people are going to wake up tomorrow and hit that play button. People are going to tune in. And people are going to listen, and people are going to say, you know what, these people may be having a tough time in this party, trying to bring it together. Because let's face it, this party grew very very fast. I don't care about the numbers that we have now, but for what it was, it grew fast. And so um, you know, we're settling in the ground, I think, right now. And there are days when I feel weak and I feel like I want to walk away. But the reinvigorating factor is when I'm reading your comments and I see the things that you guys are doing. And it makes me say, no matter what I just put as a comment, like asking the blacks in the party to leave and stuff like that, it makes me want to say to them to stay. It makes me want to say to them stay. You know, we have a job to do. We have a purpose here, and so I thank y'all for restoring that faith in me. Because honestly, I felt like walking away from the party, but I humbly realized that we could do more.
Well, I think that was a beautiful way to end it. I need to handle some other stuff, as I'm sure you
Yeah.
two as well need to. And Gary, let's talk later privately, okay?
All right, hey Chad, man, thanks for having us, man,
Oh,
and
thank you. Thank you.
best of luck to you, man.
You too.
I'll work on my end to see what I could do with Tony.
All right.
Pound, you work on your end to see what you could do with Eric, and let's, like you said, let's keep talking offline.
All
And
right.
Chad, man, keep on doing what you're doing, man. I see you, man, and
Appreciate
fuck
that.
what everybody say. Everybody ain't gonna like you, man. Even the sun when it rises in the morning, man, it shines alone.
Right, right. I appreciate that, man. Thank you, and thanks Harsh, man, for coming on. You know, you know, that's the one again with him. I really respect. You know, for me to be at him like that and still, you know, feel like you know, you can come on the show or whatnot and feel, you know, that's I think that's progress, and I think that says a lot. So you know, I haven't done a lot of complimenting Harsh, but you know, definitely that's definitely you know, lots of respect. So, all right, everyone. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode of the Green Party Nation. We'll talk some more about this toxic shit.
All right, man. All right, pals, man. I love y'all guys, man. Stay up, man.